And there's only one way to handle that drive home. Jon Schaefer and Jim Russell.
I don't know. If I'm the organization, I'm not opening that can of worms. That's why I'm not putting Seidler there, even if his health is okay. You put him there, and the focus is Peter Seidler and why you kept AJ and what went wrong with Bob and what's the payroll. Where if you just have the new manager with AJ Preller, it's more about the new manager. If you just have Preller the manager, it's more about that. It's less about what happened with Bob. What's the payroll?
Yeah, that's over with right now. It's more or less like manager, whoever you are, right. How are you going to work with AJ Preller?
Now it's time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one of Jon and Jim. What a day it is in San Diego. It is Halloween. We've got a great show lined up for you here today. You need to find us, by the way, on YouTube because we are dressed up. In addition to us being dressed up, Alex Weiner, 98.7 Arizona Sports, will get us ready for Game 4. He'll join us at 3:45. Farbad Esnashari, we've had him on before. He's covered the Clippers for a long time. Huge deal today involving James Harden. Farbad will join us coming up at 4:30. Paul Garrison on San Diego State's exhibition yesterday, but it is Halloween, Jim. And Jim basically said we're going to dress up.
Yes.
Right? Because I was watching yesterday. I was away.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, we're going to dress up. So I'm like, I don't know. But you brought an outfit in for me.
Yeah.
And I am Pikachu. So you need to find us right now on YouTube. Go to YouTube. You can see what we look like. Search for Jon and Jim 760. I've got a Pikachu hat. I've got red rosy cheeks with my wife's lipstick. And I've got my wife's like too small, what is this? Zip up on?
Yeah. Yeah. So
and you are his friend, Pikachu's friend.
No, I'm your owner. Or wait, no. Who am I? I'm Ash Ketchum. But I'm also like you're my Pokemon. So,
but I am Pokemon.
No, you are my Pokemon.
Yeah, you are a Pokemon.
You are a Pokemon.
I'm Pikachu.
But you're my Pokemon. I'm Ash Ketchum. And we're like best buddies. And we go on adventures together.
So this is kind of unrealistic.
Very unrealistic.
All I know about Pikachu is there was the game like 10 years ago where everyone was like walking around like trying to catch Pikachus or Pokemons.
No, that was like 5 years ago. That was not like 10 years ago.
But people like walking off like bridges and tunnels and crazy things were happening. Is that why they got rid of the game?
No, the game's still around.
Game's still around.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the cards that you collected when you were younger, like Pikachu cards.
Still have them.
Okay. I don't really know what to say about that.
I don't know. All I know is that this costume gave me deja vu.
I bought it a Halloween costume.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna be?
I'm going to be Ash Ketchum, and Aaron's going to be Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
Oh, who's Ash Ketchum?
Ash.
Is it Pikachu's friend?
I hate you so much.
Jon Schaefer.
And she's going to be Pikachu?
Yes.
I was going to be Pikachu.
You should be Pikachu. I have a beanie in the car. You want to wear it?
What's a beanie going to do?
It's a Pikachu beanie. I think I spent like $60 on the costume.
Well, yeah, because you just bought her a stocking cap instead of an costume.
But I bought myself an Ash Ketchum hat.
Yeah, the text line thought you said ass ketchup, by the way.
Ass ketchup. I'm going to be ass ketchup for Halloween.
Let's just start the show.
I said.
So that was last Halloween?
I said Ash Ketchum, not ass ketchup.
Dude, I don't know. Here's the thing. Is this relatable to anyone? Like, who is this relatable to? 30-somethings?
Hey,
40-somethings?
People in the chat says that they love the costumes.
Okay, they like the costumes.
Yeah.
Could Brent be a third character? Because Brent he's wearing a Bears hat and an orange t-shirt.
Yeah, I didn't wear anything.
Okay. So he's Ash Ketchum's friend.
These are two of the most recognized. I don't know. Darren didn't know who these people were, but I feel like these are the two most recognizable.
I don't know who these people are.
Well, you don't watch anything.
True.
But I feel like these two are people you would recognize them pretty quickly because they're very recognizable.
All right, we got a couple of giveaways here today. We have
Pikachu.
Snow Jam tickets to give away. Be listening for a chance to win those. We have Vets Aid tickets to give away. We'll give those away as well. We have an update to the Padres managerial search from Dennis Lynn earlier today. But then we have an update to the update, which I always like as well. So Dennis with Briccaroli saying earlier that among the external candidates that the Padres are going to talk to, Benji Gill, who a lot of people have been advocating for. Benji Gill, to me, feels a little bit like that backup quarterback that you're just advocating for because your quarterback's no good. Because I don't know if anyone really knows anything about Benji Gill's like managerial acumen, but people are a little bit stoked for him because he managed Team Mexico. Is that a good comp? Like, oh, Benji Gill. It's almost like because he hasn't managed in the big leagues, so people are excited about him. Where Phil Nevin is like, oh, he managed a couple years in the big leagues already. Or Mike Schilt, yeah, he managed with the Cardinals. Ryan Flaherty, he'd be a first-time manager. Where Benji Gill to me, he said Benji Gill, by the way, Phil Nevin and Eric Chavez, but then they clarified, Britt Giroli did, and said, Nevin could interview this week. Gill is in preliminary discussions, and Chavez no longer expected to be in the mix. So the external candidates, Benji Gill, backup quarterback to me, that everyone wants. And then also
the backup quarterback,
Phil Nevin, who we're familiar with in San Diego, obviously.
I feel like there's like a 0% chance there for me.
You think so?
For Phil Nevin.
0% chance they go with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the chances of a Benji Gill would be shocking to me.
Really?
I do.
So you think it's internal?
Oh, I think it's 100%.
Okay. So they're just doing this for the look?
I think so.
The appearance of, hey, we exhausted all options?
Yeah. I think, honestly, I feel like have their mind made up, but they're just doing their quote due diligence, right? The due diligence of this whole thing. I feel like it's coming down to between Flaherty and Schilt, one of those two. And if they're going the Ryan Flaherty route, they're probably talking internally about, okay, we're going with another first-time manager. We're going with another guy who's unproven after it failed so miserably with Andy Green and Jace Tingler. How are we going to make sure that we spin this to be positive?
I'm with Jim. It feels kind of like the Rooney Rule in the NFL, to where they'll interview coaches they have no intention in hiring just so they can say they interviewed people. And I feel like they're just going to go, oh, well, look, we interviewed this guy, and this guy. So then they can't go, oh, well, you only looked, inside the organization. You didn't even look outside.
Yeah,
we did. We interviewed these guys. We had no intention on hiring them, but we interviewed them.
Yeah, we interviewed this person, we interviewed that person, but ultimately it came down to Ryan Flaherty's been here for, X amount of years, and we feel very comfortable with him. Same thing with if it's Mike Schilt.
So let me get this straight. These candidates, like you said, they're comfortable with them. They're familiar with them. They're internal. This is the same Mike Schilt that was separated from the Cardinals because of philosophical differences, has not interviewed for a managerial gig since.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Ryan Flaherty, who they didn't allow to interview for the Mets. Was it a bench coach job or was it the managerial job?
Wasn't the managerial job. It was
okay. So like a bench job.
Bench job. Yeah.
Okay. So those are the top two candidates. This is a franchise coming off a completely disappointing year. They were on the staff or in the organization last year. It's just, to me, it's a little disappointing is the wrong word. I'm not going to say if they hire Mike Schilt, oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed. How could they do it? Now the franchise has been set back. I'm just not going to feel like I felt when they hired Bob Melvin, which was excited. Wow, they really went towards the top of the managerial hierarchy. They went completely 180 from a first-time manager to a veteran manager. It's just not going to feel like that if they go internal. Like Flaherty, we're going to say, oh my gosh, another first-time manager. And Schilt, we're going to say, okay, well, they have Bob Melvin. Is this really an upgrade from Bob Melvin? Most people will probably say that's not the case.
I feel like nothing they do will get me super excited because I feel like it's going to be between Schilt and Flaherty. If they go the Benji Gill route, I could look at that and say, huh, okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a first-time manager. It's still an unknown commodity.
First-time big league manager. I know he's been with the Angels, right? Yep. He's managed in the Mexican League. He's managed for Team Mexico.
I think Phil Nevin would. I think it would turn out to be a disaster because I don't know if Phil Nevin and AJ Preller's personalities would clash well. I think they wouldn't. I don't think they would mesh well at all. And who was the other candidate? Well, Eric Chavez. But
Chavez is out.
He's out.
According to Britt Giroli.
This to me is just like kind of doing their due diligence, right? I think they've already made up their mind.
So it's not even due diligence. It's more like, to Brent's point, like you almost have to do it.
Yeah.
To not that it's identical to the Rooney Rule, but it's like, let's say, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I wasn't including the race part of the Rooney Rule.
Right,
I just meant
but it's
the
like you
hiring
have to,
people you're not going to.
Right. It's like if we know we're going to do, like, okay, you're hiring for a radio show, like you have to kind of post the position, but like you want to have Jon and Jim, and then you bring other people in, but Jon and Jim are already on the air, and it's just like a process you have to go through. But you already know that they're going to go with Jon and Jim. Like your mind's already made up. It's like we're just going through it. It's a song and dance. Mm-hmm. But I don't understand that because, again, my internal candidates aren't so unbelievable. That's the way I see it. It's not like these internal choices are the best choices in baseball. I've been saying that since day one. When I heard that Schilt and Flaherty were the front runners, I'm like, no offense to Schilt or Flaherty, but why? Why not go earn it? Like go find external candidates, whomever interviews best, whoever is most qualified, whatever that even means. But if the organization has its mind made up, then it doesn't even matter if Benji Gill is more qualified or if Benji Gill interviews better than Mike Schilt. Here's the other thing. If it's between Schilt and Flaherty, sell me on Flaherty. Schilt's got the 3+ years as the Cardinals manager. He's brought a team to a postseason 3 times. Now, maybe Ryan Flaherty can do that if given the opportunity, but it's like if choosing between the two and I need to win now, I got to go with the guy that's proven as opposed to the guy that's unproven, right?
Doesn't it feel like it's like they're in a situation where it's damned if they do, damned if they don't?
A little bit, maybe.
Whatever move and whatever person that they hire, I don't feel like is going to be viewed as the 100% that's the guy, like Bob Melvin was viewed when he was hired 2 years ago.
I agree with that.
I think Bob Melvin, obviously nothing is universally liked 100%, but also I feel like the majority of people, the vast majority of people viewed Bob Melvin as the right guy because first off, you're replacing Ryan Flaherty, or not, excuse me, you're replacing Jace Tingler. My bad. The bar is very low. The bar is very low, and they exceeded the bar for sure. Going to NLCS, I guess, having a winning record this year, but still, the only 2 winning seasons under Preller in a full year has been with Bob Melvin. So now you're going to follow that up. And if the new manager doesn't take this team to at least an NLCS, well, then that's a failure. So they're in a damned if they do, damned if they don't. I feel like whoever it is, it's going to not be viewed like it was Bob Melvin. And it's going to be a wait and see. Show me with your actions instead of telling me how great this potentially could be.
By the way, off the YouTube chat, and if you want to see what we're dressed up as or take a look at our Pikachu and Pokemon outfits here today on Halloween.
I'm Ash Ketchum, and this is my Pokemon, Pikachu.
So you can find us on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. Gus says, let's assign Pokemon characters to Padres players, and Manny is Charizard. Charizard?
Oh no.
Is that good, or is that his name, or did I mess it up?
That's not his name. It's
now I feel like Darren. I've heard that word before.
I've said that probably.
It's Charizard, not Charizard.
Duh.
Okay.
How could you mess that up?
It's easy, man. If you've never seen it.
You're a Pokemon right now.
Gus also said, I desperately need Jon to give his best Pikachu scream. What does that sound like?
All right. I'm gonna say Pikachu, I choose you, and then you give me a Pikachu. Okay, because that's what they do. They say their names.
Let's do it.
Pikachu, I choose you.
Pikachu. Brent will find it.
It's not like
and
that.
He'll play for me. What do you scream?
You got to like give like a high pitched like Pikachu.
Pikachu.
Yes.
Was that good?
Pikachu.
Was that good? It certainly does.
Yeah.
All right. So do we think that if we're down to these interviews with Schilt and Flaherty, and we know this has been going on since the middle of last week, that's what AJ Preller said. If they're now discussing other candidates, maybe a Benji Gill, maybe a Phil Nevin, are we going to get word on this the second the World Series ends? The World Series is going to end in the next handful of days by Saturday, and we're going to find out who the next Padres manager is by Monday of next week. Is that our timetable? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
What about an off day? Whenever the next off day is.
I don't know, man, during the World Series, if you do that. Like you said, in the previous rounds, I think you do that. But I think actually during the World Series, I don't know if you do that. I feel like there's like blackout dates apply, and you're not supposed to make any real moves during the World Series. Are they that close that they could do this in a day or two? If they're still interviewing?
Doesn't it feel like they've already made? Doesn't it feel like they're?
It doesn't even matter. They'll hire someone. They'll bring someone in for an interview the day after.
They've already made up their mind before Bob Melvin even got let go.
Yeah, maybe.
Like before Bob Melvin got the opportunity to go interview with the Giants. I bet you in this side organization, they've already said, "Yeah, this is the guy."
It's interesting you say that. So in allowing Melvin to interview, maybe the Padres were more than cool with that. They allowed it.
Oh God, they were
not only because they were okay with Melvin walking, but because they knew who they were going to go with. They knew it was going to be Mike Schilt, or they knew it was going to be Ryan Flaherty. And it's probably not even close between the two candidates. Mm-hmm. Like whoever they hire, they knew when they let Melvin walk out the door. Is that what you think? That They knew when Melvin walked, it was Flaherty.
Did you hear what Dennis told Darren the other day?
I did not.
That while Bob was here, they were already discussing with Ryan Flaherty and Mike Schilt things of like, hey, if you were the manager, what would you do in this situation?
Oh, you're saying last year. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. And that to me is just mind-blowing. How you can actively be talking to people on the coaching staff and in the front office about, hey, if you were the manager, how would you handle this situation? Totally undermining Bob Melvin in every aspect of the way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's very unconventional to me. It speaks to this cultural divide or issues the Padres organization have. It's like they go in a direction they just want to go. And like, that's weird to me that you would have a manager and you'd be asking coaches on his staff, hey, what would you do if you were manager? Like, that's an exercise I wouldn't think that you would use. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but the Padres are unconventional.
They're unconventional to their own fault.
Maybe, yeah.
They're unconventional when they think that they're zagging while everyone's zigging.
Yeah.
They're actually doing the opposite, and it's not really helping the franchise or making them better. They're just kind of tripping over themselves every time they try to do things unconventionally. The Jace Tingler thing, I think, was very unconventional, and they tripped over their own feet and ate it. The Bob Melvin thing wasn't unconventional. That was pretty conventional. That was like, hey, Bob Melvin's potentially available. He's the best guy out there. You go get him. There's no rocket science here. And then it blew up in their face because Preller, couldn't work with Bob and vice versa. And now I think AJ is probably looking at the situation like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do it my way. And I don't think his way is going to work personally. I think his way is going to end up backfiring in his face. I could be proven wrong, but he's going to have to do it and have it backfire in order for potential change to happen.
Can I sell you on Benji Gill?
Do it.
It's like, can I sell you on who was the Bears backup the other day who ended up being not very good? Bajent, the Division II kid from Shepherd,
Todd
out of West
Bajent,
Virginia.
or whatever his name is.
Like, there were Bears fans probably like, Bajent, man,
he could
he's
potentially take
Fields.
over Fields.
And then Bajent all of a sudden's in there. He's throwing pick sixes. But let me sell you on Benji Gill.
Okay, do it.
Tijuana born.
Okay.
Chula Vista raised. Longtime major leaguer. Experienced managing in the Mexican League. Has been in the big leagues as recently as this past year on the coaching staff of the Angels. I don't know, mid-career, not young, not old. Now, he hasn't managed the big leagues, but he has managed before. Olympic Games for Mexico, WBC for Mexico. Mm-hmm. Widely respected, bilingual. I mean, is that enough? Like, does Benji Gill have more to offer potentially than a Schilt, who's been a 3-year manager in the big leagues with St. Louis, but was fired over philosophical differences and has not gotten an interview since? Or a Ryan Flaherty, who's, spent a lot of time with Manny Machado and played with them and has Machado's ear, but is that a reason to hire someone? Like, could Benji Gill mesh the two? You got this 37-year-old, you got this veteran in Mike Schilt, and maybe you split the difference and you go with the bilingual Tijuana native, raised in Chula Vista, has managed WBC teams, Benji Gill? Backup quarterback?
I could get on board with that.
Okay, I sold you on him.
I could get on board with that. Am I like over the moon about it? I have to wait and see.
You're not going to dress up as Benji Gill next Halloween?
I will not dress up as Benji Gill, no.
If they make the NLCS, will you?
Jersey's not in the cart.
Jersey's not in the cart currently. It's not in the cart. I could do that.
Is there anyone else we're missing? Is there a name you want to throw out? Have we thrown out some names?
We got, I think, all the names that we could think of right now. I mean, knowing Preller, there's probably a name out there that no one's talking about.
What's his name? Australian League football.
John Tricker?
What was he doing beforehand? Cricket?
Sure. Get him in the
Sumo
building.
wrestling?
They already have him in the building. I mean, he's one of the highest paid employees in the organization. So, hell, make him the manager.
Can you imagine?
Dude, if they hired Don Tricker,
he's already on the payroll, like you said.
I know. He's under the payroll, and he's one of the highest paid people.
Trick or treat.
Yeah, trick or treat. Here you go. Happy Halloween, everybody. Look who's behind the mask. For the new manager, it's Don Tricker. Dun, dun, dun.
Are we going to find out? Is he going to get an interview? What happened to the Ruben Niebla interview we heard about last week?
Oh, that doesn't mean it.
That's over and done with?
Yeah.
I'd probably prefer to have Ruben Niebla as the pitching coach.
I think that's another one of those. I think that's another one of those interviews where they just did it to do it. Just
appease.
just because, hey, look, if you don't interview me, I'm out of here and I'll go someplace that will interview me. Oh, okay, no, we'll interview you.
But that is an interesting point. Like, if he manages, he can't also be the pitching coach. You'd have to hire a pitching coach if you made Ruben Niebla your manager, which is a problem because most people believe you got like a top 5 pitching coach, and that's a good part of your organization right now.
And another thing with Ryan Flaherty, this offense the last couple of years sucks.
Well, yeah, no doubt. But you and I, though, I'm not putting that on Ryan Flaherty, but it's not a feather in his cap either.
This offense should have been way better than it was this year, obviously.
Yep.
Way better than it was last year. The year before that, 2021. Like, ever since Ryan Flaherty's been here as the, I guess, offensive coordinator or hitting coach or whatever the hell you want to call him, right?
He's running too many seam routes.
Yeah, it's the
screen game has killed this team.
The go routes are not the play here, Ryan. We need to work on, like,
just protect the quarterback.
Being a little more creative here.
Yeah.
Can you... just another part of this whole situation. Hey, Ryan Flaherty is our new manager. Oh, we're going to overlook the fact that this offense, as he was the offensive coordinator the last couple of years, has sucked. But it's fine. He can be the new manager.
All right, here's what we're going to do. It's Halloween.
Yay.
It's Halloween. If you're listening to us on the radio, you need to find us on YouTube to see our outfits. Search for Jon and Jim 760 on YouTube. We're going to catch up with Alex Weiner, 98.7 Arizona Sports before Game 4 tonight. He'll join us in about 20 minutes. We'll talk about the Harden trade at 4:30. Paul Garrison, East Village Times on San Diego State's men's basketball exhibition last night. He'll join us coming up at 5 p.m. We have great giveaways. Plus, on the other side, Jim might lose his mind, but a dubious feat in this year's World Series. Plus,
what?
3:45. Alex Weiner will join the show. We'll get you ready for Game 4 of the World Series. It is Halloween. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, we're going to get you ready for Game 4 of the World Series on the other side, plus a dubious feat in this year's World Series. We'll tell you what it is next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Game 4 of the World Series tonight in Arizona. Rangers have a 2-1 series lead there. 5 o'clock first pitch. NBA trade last night. Deep in the night, James Harden got traded to the LA Clippers. And NFL trade deadline day today. Chase Young, the big name, moved from the Washington Commanders to the San Francisco 49ers for a conditional third-round pick. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today. John just looked at me and goes, my ears are flopping.
Right, so it's Halloween. We've got our Pikachu outfits on. I'm Pikachu. You're
Ash Ketchum.
Ash Ketchum.
Pikachu and Ash, bro.
Pikachu and Ash. It's like
it's like peanut butter and jelly.
Exactly.
But
Harden and Westbrook.
Not quite.
For like the 8th time in their career.
Not quite.
Reunited.
Not quite.
In LA. Farbad Eshnashari. He covers the Clippers for Sports Illustrated. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. We'll get you ready for Game 4 of this World Series coming up later this hour. Alex Weiner, 98.7 Arizona Sports, is going to join the show. Now, Jim hates this, and this is why I bring it up. So, World Series ratings. Okay. Now, I think, did you talk about this at all yesterday?
I did not.
All right, so Game 1 ratings were, this is an amazing game. I watched the entire Game 1. I thought it was a great game. I thought ratings would be pretty good because it was such a good game. Went 11 innings. Lowest rated Game 1 ever. Second lowest rated World Series game ever. All right, Friday night, whatever. Great baseball game. Well, then Game 2 ratings came out. It was a terrible game. That was the 9-1 game.
And was it
Saturday night?
Was it on a Sunday night or Saturday night?
Saturday, same time as Colorado UCLA, which did a huge number. Well, it was the number 1 rated show of the night, but it was the record worst or the lowest rated World Series game ever. Again, not a shocker. It's Arizona, Texas. So be it. And then there's last night, and that set another record for record low going up against Monday Night Football. About 8 million people watched the World Series last night.
That's it?
Yeah, 8 million people.
Oh, man.
So it was 9 million for Game 1, 8 million for Game 2, a little less in the 8 million for game 3. I would think maybe a bump tonight without Monday Night Football, hopefully for game 4, maybe get back to 9 million, maybe it gets to 10 million. Here's my point. I've watched game 1 and 3 like in its entirety. I thought game 1 was great. I thought last night was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Watch that game. At the end of the day, they're going to want this thing or need this thing to go 6 or 7 games like the LCSs. The LCSs were up. They went 7 games. If this thing goes 6 or 7 games and it's a good series, who even cares? But if this ends up being a 5-game series, you could see, again, the 5th game, who knows who's going to be watching. But again, if you're a baseball fan, I think it's been good TV. For whatever it's worth, it's been the lowest rated World Series, which is what people predicted too.
I thought game 1 was a classic. Game 2 was a dud. And last night, it's just hard going up against Monday Night Football.
It is.
It's just hard.
Yep.
It was a good game. I don't think it was like a classic game. 3-1.
It was fine.
It was fine. The umpiring was horrific on the plate. I mean, some of the calls, like, it's the World Series. Can we not have the best umpires in the World Series? What are we doing here?
100%.
Like, I don't care.
Like, it's the leadoff batter in the 9th inning. It's a 3-2 pitch. You take the pitch outside, or a 3-1 pitch. It's called a strike. Like, you just changed the entire complexion of the inning.
Like, you could have a runner on first with
tying
no
run
outs.
at the plate with nobody out.
Instead, he gets out of it.
Yep.
And Rangers have a 2-1 series lead. But beside the umpiring being just horrific as usual, and the ratings being 100% down, I don't have a problem. Like, I'm not like outraged over this.
No,
I haven't said.
I agree with you.
I don't care. It's kind of one of those things where if you're gonna watch it, you're gonna watch it, and if you're gonna enjoy it, you're gonna enjoy it. But if you don't watch it and you don't enjoy it, I'm not gonna be one of those people that says, "Why are you watching the World Series?" Because there's so many things on to watch right now. That's one of the biggest problems with the World Series, is that there's just too many options. You have NBA starting back up again. You have
in-season tournament.
And stop it. The in-season tournament, I'm more pissed off than anything that was the World Series ratings go.
Mm-hmm.
You got NFL, you got college football, you got college basketball starting back up again, even though I don't think anything college basketball-wise would run into the World Series. But you got a point.
Yep.
There's too many things going on right now.
Yesterday was the only day all year with the Big Four.
And hockey,
baseball,
too.
NBA, NHL, and NFL on the same day.
And the great thing is YouTube TV, which is game changer.
Yeah, you can watch them all.
Watch it all. So I had the World Series game on, and I had Monday Night Football game on at the same time. And then I also had the Warriors game on as well. So it's like the trifecta, and you can watch it all. I don't know how that goes with ratings, but like if streaming counts into ratings as well, because there's so many different ways to watch games nowadays. It's not cable anymore. Cable is so far gone. Removed. Like, if anybody has cable, that's on you.
Well, a couple of things. Here's the thing. I think baseball locally, and this is the reason why we talk about Padres literally every single day. I think baseball within its markets is incredibly strong. I think if you spend any time in San Diego the last 6 or 7 years since the Chargers left, baseball rules the day. I mean, there's no questioning the strength of the Padres within this market. That nobody's arguing that. Baseball, for me, is a sport I grew up on. But I would also say this, like, if you don't recognize the change nationally of the sport, and it is whatever. I mean, who cares at the end of the day? It's changed a lot. Like, if you're a 40-something or 30-something from the time you were 10 until now, it's changed a lot, obviously. Now, again, locally, I think within these markets, San Diego, name the market, I think it's incredibly strong. For whatever reason, you change the aperture on it to a national one, and it's different. Now, you could go back, and this is maybe an extreme example. The Cubs are in the World Series in 2016. They win it for the first time in forever, right? And game 1 of that World Series had 23 million viewers. Now, it was the Chicago Cubs. They hadn't been in the World Series in forever, but it wasn't that long ago. There were 23 million people watching game 1 of the World Series. This year, there were 9.
It's a 14 million
in 7 seasons. Now, again, for baseball fans like you and I just want to see good baseball. It doesn't impact me in any way.
It's the teams.
I guess so.
It's the teams.
You have to remember,
is.
too, that the Cubs, it was either going to be them or Cleveland. They were
neither of them had won
they were
forever.
both the two. They're like 1 and 2 in terms of teams that had the longest droughts without winning a championship.
Sure.
So one of the droughts was going to end. So
Yep. No doubt.
Sorry, my computer's dying.
Your computer's terrible.
I need to hold on. Let me plug it in real quick.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
I should have been Jim's computer for Halloween and just worked half the day.
I like that. Okay, by the way, coming up here in just a few minutes, Alex Weiner Arizona Sports 98.7. He is in Phoenix. He will get us ready for Game 4 tonight. Not a must-win, but kind of a must-win for Arizona. Although they've been here before, haven't they? Trail 2-0 in Philadelphia. Trail 3-2 in Philadelphia. This is not uncharted territory. I wouldn't think they're completely overwhelmed by this. Plus, Adolis Garcia is out tonight for Game 4. So he'll join us at 3:45. Farbod Esnashari. You know the Clippers have become the odds-on favorite to win the West? Are you going to screw up the stream?
We have a major problem here. My computer's going to die.
Your computer won't charge?
It won't charge.
I've been telling you to buy a new computer for like a year.
But here we go.
There you go.
No, but it says power source, power adapter battery is not charging.
Maybe try mine.
But I have a different one.
Yeah, you do. Come on, man.
Wait. There we go.
Remember back in the day with the games, like you blowing the cartridge or whatever?
Yeah. No, don't touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it.
It's going to work.
Don't touch it.
Well, maybe I should buy a new power adapter because this one over here is like kind of
Maybe you should upgrade your computer from 2014. Right? What is your computer from? Seriously.
Pretty soon, Jim's computer is going to be in one of his backstage stories about, oh, hey, someone with this laptop from 1996, they auctioned it today for
Do you know when you bought
$500 million.
I didn't buy it. I was a gift to me.
Whatever. Do you know when you receive it? Doesn't change anything.
2017, 2018, 2017.
Dude, that's a long time for a laptop.
6 years?
Yes.
Computer years? Yeah, that's like
70470 started with team. That's too long, right?
It's like a caveman and a stick.
Yeah. 7 years. Does it even have internet?
Barely.
What does it have? Windows 95 installed on that thing?
Windows 92.
I don't know if that existed.
It didn't, actually.
All right, here's what we're going to do. In the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to give away tickets to Snow Jam. This is at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. We have a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam. We'll give that away in the 4 o'clock hour. Also today, we're going to give away tickets to the Vets Aid concert at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is coming up on November 12th. So again, we got great giveaways for you. On the other side, we'll get you ready for tonight with Alex Weiner, 98.7 Arizona Sports. We've got an update again from Farbod Esnashari. Clippers, the odds-on favorite now to win the West by adding James Harden. Does that make any sense?
How?
He'll join us at 4:30. Paul Garrison on San Diego State's exhibition last night, also on Aztec football at 5 p.m. But Alex Weiner will get us ready for Game 4 on the other side. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, let's get ready for Game 4 of the World Series with Alex Weiner. He covers the Diamondbacks for Arizona Sports 98.7 in Phoenix, and he'll join us next. All right, Alex Weiner in Phoenix will join us momentarily. Roof, by the way, per his Twitter, is once again open. Beautiful night in Phoenix.
Oh, perfect.
I think it was 79 degrees last night for Game 3. And again, if you're at that game last night, don't you kind of feel for like you're just waiting for something to happen? Like if you're a fan of the Diamondbacks last night and you go down 3-0, first of all, there's the base running blunder where he runs through the stop sign,
And the Stein.
and then they do nothing the rest of the game.
Nothing.
Like there's not, like you're just waiting for something to happen, and nothing really happened if you were a Diamondbacks fan last night. All right, Alex Weiner is with us. Covers the Diamondbacks for Arizona Sports 98.7 with us here, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Alex, we appreciate your time. The Diamondbacks have been in the spot, obviously. They trailed the Phillies by 2 games. They trailed 3-2 going back to Philadelphia. What's the temperament right now after losing Game 3 in Phoenix in terms of where the Diamondbacks are in the series?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I think the temperament's pretty much what it has been. I mean, this team has been through a lot second half of the season to climb back into the playoff race and into a spot. You mentioned it. They go down 2-0 to Philly. They go down 3-2. You don't want to fall in love with falling behind in these series, but they played pretty well with their back against the wall. So, there's some frustration a little bit in the clubhouse last night after the game, just the way that it went. But I think that it's been pretty normal today.
And it looks like they're going to go bullpen day today. How is that going to shape out potentially for the rest of the series?
Yeah, Joe Manaply will be the opener tonight, so we'll get the Corey Seager matchup early, and then they'll piece it together. They won a bullpen game against the Phillies in Game 4 where they used 8 different pitchers, but the bullpen's in pretty good shape. Last night they got some good work after Brandon Pfaadt went into the 6th inning. A few other guys like Miguel Castro and Kyle Nelson were able to get some pretty quick innings, and so nobody's particularly taxed, and they were able to save their back-end guys. So they should be gassed up and ready to go.
Alex Weiner with us right now, Arizona Sports 98.7, getting us ready for Game 4. Alex, when Tommy Pham was in San Diego, he was a bit of like a polarizing figure. Over his 2 seasons in a Padres uniform, there were things on field, off field, around Pham, but it seems like he's been a bit of a revelation in Arizona. What impact has he had on this clubhouse and this team over the last couple of months?
Yeah, from the looks of it in that D-back Padres series towards the end of the season. It seems like it's still a pretty polarizing figure in San Diego. But yeah, I mean, all the reviews from his teammates and coaches have been pretty positive, and they brought him over to be a veteran voice in the clubhouse and a middle of the order. Both of those, and it hasn't been completely steady offensively, but he has had stretches where he's really turned it on, and in these playoffs a couple of times, and last night a couple of hits again. So he's been really hot for them offensively. But yeah, I think the voice in there has been pretty impactful as well.
Corbin Carroll has been a standout star this year for the Diamondbacks. Just how important is it for him to set the tone, tonight for this? I want to say pretty much a must-win game, so they don't go down 3-1.
Yeah, I think it comes down 3-1. I mean, I think you can classify this as a must-win game, and for Corbin, I mean, he's got to continue to do what he's been doing. I mean, besides a couple of games there against Philadelphia, we wasn't able to get much going. He just kind of elevated his game in the postseason as well. It's going to be important for them to get off to a good start here. They're going to have the start they hit leadoff, and then Corbin hit second, which is typically what they do against the left-handed starter. The Rangers also, they're not going with typical starting pitching tonight. I mean, Andrew Heaney is the starting pitcher, but he hasn't gone deep in many games since the regular season ended. So to jump on them, get their bullpen going early, I think it's going to be really important, and he's going to be a big part of that.
Alex, we appreciate a few minutes. We're having a little bit of trouble with your phone. I think you're probably inside Chase Field right now, but we appreciate you taking a few minutes for us here in San Diego. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, Alex Weiner, again, Arizona Sports 98.7. I know, by the way, postgame, Torey Lovello was outspoken about the umpiring.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Walker, by the way, said he never saw the stop sign last night. I don't know if it came late or not from the third base coach. Did you watch that thing on replay?
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it. Yeah, I mean, the right fielder, who was it? Garcia? He had the ball before Walker even hit third. He was out by a mile. And initially he was being waved. Then he got a stop sign. He just put his head down and was out by a mile.
By the way,
changed the game.
Adolis Garcia is out tonight with an oblique strain.
Correct. Is that not been in your updates?
Well, I've only had one update, and I saw it after the update.
You've had two updates.
But I saw it after the 3:30 update.
And I've already said it during the show, so you weren't listening.
I was not listening.
Yeah, no, he's out.
Get back in your Pokeball, Pikachu.
Get back on my what? By the way, someone said in the text line
quiet.
I should just name Pokemon characters, but I think they're all like in English, Misty and Brock. It's not hard to say. Like, I should say the names or whatever. But
what do you mean to say the names?
Like, because I said like Chazara wrong, or
you said Charizard wrong.
Right. So like, you should name other characters. Like,
yeah, Charizard.
But I'm looking at the names and they're not that complicated. Unless I'm saying the English pronunciation.
What names are you looking at?
Bonnie and Lena.
Who?
That must be the English pronunciation, because then they have like the Japanese in parentheses. You see this? Like Eureka and Siren.
Those must be like the character, like the newer characters, but the OG characters, Brock and Misty, those were like Ash's friends.
But is that their name? Is it Brock and Misty, or is it Kasumi and Takeshi?
No, it's Brock and Misty in the English version.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why we're talking about this, it's Halloween.
Yes.
By the way, spoiler alert.
Whoa.
It's Halloween. We're dressed up. I'm Pokemon. No, I'm Pikachu.
You're Pikachu.
And Jim is
Ash Ketchum.
Correct. And Brent's Brent.
And you're my Pokemon.
You going, I'm Pokemon would be like going, yeah, I'm Star Wars.
I'm Star Wars.
I don't know.
You're Pikachu. Pikachu.
Well, I didn't know what I was going to be today because Jim kept sending me different things. He's like, wear a yellow shirt, wear your Padres black hat, do this. You're going to be a banana. You're going to be there. I didn't know. So
I was thinking of how could I have been like AJ Preller, but I couldn't think of a definitive AJ Preller costume. That makes sense.
It would have been like long shorts.
You'd have to look like you're on a Zoom call.
And
then just go
talk all day.
Yeah, Preller would have been tough.
Yeah, it would have been tough to make a AJ Preller costume.
Yeah, Melvin would have been tough.
Oh, Melvin would have been tough. But why? But Bob Melvin's gone, so who cares?
Ryan Flaherty would have been tough.
Yeah,
I think all the
yeah. Oh well. Well, I'm Ash.
Next year.
You're Pikachu. We're Pokemon.
Yeah, I like it.
We're Pokemon.
Could have been Mitchie Two Bags.
What is the? I like that, Mitch Moreland.
Yeah.
What is the age where it's too old to go trick or treating, or dress up? Trick or treating is
probably
13, 12.
Yeah, once you get into the teens, that's when
you get into
delinquent territory.
Maybe like middle school or high school, like yeah,
high school's a little old.
Like 12, 13, maybe tops there.
So we can't go tonight around the neighborhoods.
See, I don't know if people would actually give us candy. Like if we went to someone's house and said trick or treat,
They'd call the police.
they'd be like, "What are you doing here?" And
Right.
yes, they would call the police because we're dressed up. I'm Ash and you're Pikachu, and that would just be weird.
Very weird.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Next hour, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023. This is at the Del Mar Fairgrounds from November 10th to the 12th, an unforgettable event. Check that out against Snow Jam San Diego. We'll tell you more about that in the 4 o'clock hour. In the 5 o'clock hour today, we have another pair of tickets to Vets Aid. This is at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on November 12th. Make sure you're there as Joe Walsh presents an all-star lineup with Jeff Lynn's ELO, The War on Drugs, The Flaming Lips, and special guest Steven Stills. More info and tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Keep listening for your chance to win. On the other side, we're going to get to the wrap. Also in the 4 o'clock hour, what is the impact of this James Harden trade on the West? The Clippers are now the odds-on favorite to get to the NBA Finals. Farbad Esnashari covers the Clippers. He will join us at 4:30. We'll catch up with Paul Garrison, East Village Times, and San Diego State football and basketball at 5 p.m. But hour 2 of Jon and Jim Halloween edition is next. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Game 4 of the World Series tonight in Arizona. Adolis Garcia, he is out tonight with an oblique strain for the Rangers. Of course, the Rangers have a 2-1 series lead there. NBA trade late last night. James Harden's going from the 76ers to the LA Clippers. An NFL trade deadline today. The big name, Chase Young, former second overall pick in the NFL draft a couple years ago, is heading to the San Francisco 49ers for a conditional third-round pick. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Two things, by the way. Farbod Esnashari will join us. He covers the Clippers. He'll join us at 4:30. We'll get into this Harden trade, the return to Philadelphia, what it means for the Clippers in the West. Paul Garrison, East Village Times, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We have giveaways each of the next 2 hours. Two things I need to ask you. One, can I keep the Pikachu hat for trick-or-treating? Because Jones is going trick-or-treating, and I already have these like red lipstick on my cheeks that you put on me to look like Pikachu.
Rosy red cheeks.
Rosy red cheeks. So
What
I feel
is
like I
Jones?
need the hat.
Is Jones like
He's a construction worker.
Oh,
With like
okay.
the 10th
Nice.
consecutive year, even though he's only 4.
He loves
He loves construction. So
love it.
So I think I should be Pikachu. I don't think he knows who he is. But why do I have red rosy cheeks if I'm not Pikachu?
Why have you deprived your son of Pokemon?
Because he likes construction.
Makes
So
sense.
that's thing one. Thing two, listen to this.
Well, thing one, the answer to that is yes, you can take it home with you.
Oh, thanks.
but
man.
I'm going to need it back eventually.
Oh, okay. First of all, A, I'm not keeping it. B, what you need it for. Are you rocking this like around town?
It's part of his wedding.
I've never worn it. Only Aaron's worn it, and
Okay,
now
he's going to need it back.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it back too. I promise.
Okay.
I promise I'm not holding on to this. Here's the other thing. Jim is obsessively at every break watching some baby monitor of Aaron's dog Bentley at their new place.
It's our dog Bentley, by the way, not Aaron's dog. Now, just a
well,
heads up.
whatever. Okay. Well,
No,
who
you're
got the dog?
Okay, it's Aaron's dog.
That was easy. Okay, your dog Bentley.
Yes.
You're watching the baby monitor. I owned a dog for 11 years. I never once knew what he was doing at home. We didn't have a monitor. I know Brent's got a monitor for his dog as well. And the dog is freaking out because you moved into a new place. There's no dog with him, and he's just barking his head off obsessively. Jim's freaking out about it. Aaron's freaking out about it. I say just turn the monitor off.
So, one, if you've ever lived in an apartment like I have, I know we don't live in an apartment, but if you ever lived in a place and you have a dog that just constantly is barking or crying for
It's a
hours
nightmare
and
because the other
hours
people
and
want
hours,
to kill you.
yes, that's a problem, John.
Correct.
We don't want our neighbors the first week that we're living at our new place to
Well,
want to
guess
kill
what?
us.
What can you do about it?
I don't
Oh,
know.
you could just watch the dog bark and that makes it better?
or we could.
turn the
I don't
camera on
know.
and go, "Hey, you're okay. Take a nap."
That's what I do.
That's
But
what I do. And
but-
Peanut goes to bed.
Bentley, the thing with Bentley is, he
Doesn't listen to you.
One, he doesn't listen to me over a dog monitor, and two, he is very he's not a good independent dog. He needs like another dog with him.
So get another dog.
No, we're not getting another dog. Or
Can
he
you
needs,
put a stuffed animal next to him?
Get one of those weird robot dogs.
Yeah.
Hello, he would just freak out if that
Arf,
happened.
arf.
Or turn the TV on.
I like treats.
Turn the TV on or turn YouTube on and show them cats
Oh, that'll work.
or
Peanut,
dogs.
Peanut watches a loop of old 80s GI Joe cartoons on YouTube.
But
when
my
I'm gone.
point is this: what are you guys gonna do about it?
Well, what we did is we got a dog walker.
Okay.
So the dog walker literally just came. I'm watching it right now and picked up Bentley
Do you
and
wag?
I don't know what Erin does. Erin has done dog walkers forever,
Mhm.
so that's her job. But she got a dog walker, and the dog walker came over.
It's
and
our dog.
now she's walking Bentley.
So this is the new routine. Previously in the old place, there was another dog, and Bentley was okay during the day.
And we also had roommates, so like people were in and out a lot, and there was not a worry about a dog being home alone for too long.
Don't you feel as if Bentley, with time, will get used to this new environment?
Oh God, I hope so.
It might
She
take
will.
3 to 5 years.
I hope so. Because if not, you know who's going to be freaking out? Not me,
Erin. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, what can you do about it? Certain things you can't really control, like how the dog acts when you're at work. What are you supposed to do?
Nothing.
Not go to work? You could take. I'm fine with Bentley coming here. Seriously,
You want can Bentley,
I'm fine with that. I'm serious.
can
I'm
Bentley
not kidding.
co-host?
Yes, John and Bentley.
John
I
Bentley
like
and Jim.
that.
I'll
But
be
I
the
mean,
third wheel.
Brand occasionally brings Peanut to the office.
I know.
Bring Bentley. We'll set up a dog bed.
Yeah.
And if he barks, he barks.
Okay.
He doesn't bark during the wrap-up show.
No,
by and
because,
large.
because everyone's home.
That's what I'm saying. So we can hang out with him.
That-
We'll give him
that-
dog treats and
That dog, like, barked his head off all day yesterday, and we got home, and he didn't bark one time the rest of the day.
that's because he probably likes you guys.
I think
And
he does.
he's basically screaming like, "Come home, come home,
I
come
know.
home!"
And
And he
he's
doesn't
like,
have your
"Please,
number.
I'm so lonely.
Exactly. Farbod Esteshari covers the Clippers for SI Now, Sports Illustrated. He will join us coming up at 4:30. The Clippers traded for James Harden today.
Why?
I don't really understand it. He's 34. He doesn't perform in the postseason. He's back with Russell Westbrook and
I
now
s-
with Kawhi.
So,
and
so he fits in with a lot of
PG.
other players on
Yeah.
that team.
Yeah,
then.
maybe.
I saw a funny tweet. It was like the Clippers are now favored to win the 2014 NBA title.
Yeah, 2016, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it
least.
all so they could win the NBA Cup.
Wait,
Yeah.
time out. We're getting the top 25 right now of the college football playoff, and nobody's talking about it. Well, I am.
Where's San Diego State?
Well, they're not going to be in it. They're
Oh.
3 and 5.
Oh,
But the top 10 are being released right now. Is there anything intriguing here? The top 10 of the first college football playoff of the season?
Let me answer that
No.
for you. No.
Nothing intriguing?
Nope.
You want to see the expanded playoff, so you're not as
Yep.
concerned about the 14 playoff? You don't want to know where like Oregon and Washington are?
Also, this is the well, I know Jonathan Rifkin is obviously glued
he's
to his
Oregon.
TV, but at the same time, this is just the first college football playoff ranking. There will be how many more? Like 4?
Well, yeah, until the season ends. You're
Okay.
saying it doesn't mean anything because there's more games?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If they had like the NFC playoffs right now, well, guess what? It could change.
Yeah. Like, oh, look
If
who's in the
the
fifth
Lions
seed.
lose.
Right now, the
Yeah.
Niners are the 5th seed. They're a wild card
The
team.
Niners like 10 seed right now.
Niners suck.
Okay. Nobody's really that into it. I'm into
I'm
it.
not into
Okay.
it, John. And,
All right, I
until
am.
the expanded playoff comes, it's like you're going to get the same, not the same, but you're going to get Georgia up there. You're going to get Michigan, probably Ohio State, and
Oregon, Washington.
Washington. You're going to get Washington, Michigan, and
Florida State.
Georgia.
Florida State's
Florida
undefeated.
Those are the 4 teams, I think.
Say them again.
Are you going to get Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington? Top 4.
No, I disagree.
Top 4.
What about Ohio State?
Ohio State's number 5.
Behind
Washington.
maybe. You might be right.
And if it's Ohio State in there at number 4, then
Then you're wrong.
guess what? That's complete bias on the
Well, it
college
doesn't
football
matter
playoff
because
committee.
to your point, Ohio State plays Michigan.
Yeah, so it's fine. One of those
It
teams.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I could be completely wrong. Just want to throw this out there. Michigan, bro, can you guys play somebody good? Like, can you guys have like a legitimate schedule for once instead of having cupcakes every week?
Well, what about this sign stealing debacle?
And the sign stealing debacle that we have not even talked about one time on this show.
Well, wait, you're blaming Michigan for their schedule. I mean, they play the Big Ten. They're going to
They
play
do.
Penn State, Ohio State, and whomever else.
I'm just saying Michigan, for being the number 1 or number
Yeah,
2, ranked
hasn't
team
played
in the country,
anyone?
has played nobody.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Now they've beaten the crap out of every team they played. That's credit to them. You got to play what you're on your schedule. But give me a break, dude. Their schedule is just ass, minus the Ohio State game at the end of the year, and then of course you got Penn State. But still, really,
Do you know who Barry B. Benson is from the B movie?
no. Why?
Because someone in our YouTube chat says John looks more like Barry B. Benson from the B movie. Should I take offense to that? I'm
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Well, look, you got to show your Pikachu hat.
I don't know. My ears are all tucked up. All right, let's get to it, Brent.
Your ears are all tucked.
You kind of look like that.
There you go.
I just Googled it.
Pikachu. Pika Pika.
I almost feel like I want to rephrase this. With the addition of James Harden, why are the Clippers the team to beat in the West?
They're not.
I know, but odds-wise they are for some reason. Why?
That's stupid. How the hell is that going to work? That's not going to work, right?
They're not going to play together. How many games are those 4 going to play together? 4? How many minutes are they going to play together?
12.
Exactly.
I feel like you can't have them all on the court at the same time. Because you got 2 guys that need the ball in their hands in Westbrook and Harden.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kawhi. You're asking him to play off the ball now. And then Paul George, who is a go-to guy to play off the ball. Like, what? The fit does not make sense at all. They could prove people wrong. I just don't see it there. It's going to be a beautiful disaster that I can't wait to watch happen.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if they're the favorite to get out of the West. That doesn't make sense because of Denver.
Denver and the Lakers are better than them.
Right. Okay.
The Warriors are better than them.
It's not right, even though I wrote it. Clippers are tied right now with the Warriors at plus 700 to win the Western Conference, significantly behind the Nuggets plus 280 and the Suns plus 300. Lakers are plus 900. Mavericks are plus 1200. They're like, they've got the 4th shortest odds in the Western Conference. We've seen this play out. Now, I will say this has nothing to do with Harden. If we could get vintage Kawhi fully back from the knee, I know it's an if, but if we get some vintage Kawhi, I think they're capable of making a run. It has nothing to do with Harden. It has nothing to do with Westbrook. It has little to do with PG. It has a lot to do with Kawhi Leonard. Like, is Kawhi capable of carrying a team again? We got to see it. That's my hope if I'm a Clippers fan.
But are you going to allow Kawhi to be the number 1 with Harden, Westbrook,
That's a good
and
point.
Paul George?
It's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
I think it's going to be a disaster.
Do you?
I think it's going to be a just utter train wreck there.
It's a little bit like the Padres. You got all these type A personalities.
I think Paul George and Kawhi could win you a lot of games if you had a good supporting cast around them. But if you throw Harden and Westbrook into the mix, disaster waiting to happen.
All right, next question.
San Diego State beat Division II San Marcos last night at Viejas Arena. Do you guys read anything into exhibition results?
No, not really. Just nice to see them back out there on the court at Viejas. We'll see them next week for the home opener. The Darion Trammell thing is a little concerning because he doesn't look like he's going to be ready for the start of the season. I do think this year's team, while they have a lot of people returning from last year's team, Ledee, Parrish, Trammell, Butler, they're also losing some very key players.
No doubt.
I mean, Nathan Mensah and Aguilarope and Matt Bradley, who, yes, I think you could say you replaced him with Reese Waters. Like, you can get the same production from Reese Waters as from Matt Bradley, maybe even better defensively. I don't know. But you're not replacing Nathan and you're not replacing AG. Like, those 2 guys you cannot replace. It's I don't know they have anybody on the team that can even be looked at as replacements to those 2 guys.
Look at it like this, especially in college basketball, rosters are going to turn over a lot. And think about it this way, that you can never replicate last year's team. They're going to look different, but that doesn't mean they're going to be necessarily worse off for it or better off for it either. We'll get to, you said you didn't care about the college football playoffs.
Sorry.
Let's do the show.
What show?
The show we're doing right now. So I would say this for Aztec fans, it's going to look different, but that's okay. It's going to look different. That happens across college basketball. It happens with Duke and UNC and Kentucky and Kansas constantly. So we're going to see how it all shakes out. This is a really tough schedule. Brian Dutcher talked about it a little bit post-game yesterday, that it's going to take time, like all these teams do. I think last year's team took some time as well. If you watched them in Maui, they lost 2 of the 3 games they played in Maui. So I'm excited for this team. I really am. I think the sky's the limit for this team, but they're going to look a lot different. They don't have Nathan Mensah. He was one of the preeminent defensive players in America over the last 5 years. Next question.
Rank the top 4 teams in the NFC.
Eagles 1, Lions 2, I don't want to go 49ers 3. Let me check here. I'm gonna go Seattle. Seattle 3, And I'll go Niners 4.
I'm going to go Eagles 1, Lions 2, Niners 3, Cowboys 4. Because I saw what the Niners did to the Cowboys. Now, I know it's been 3 weeks. Now, the Cowboys get the Eagles this week, and I saw something on ESPN that had like their predictor at 50-50 for that game in Philadelphia. So I think the Cowboys are capable, and I think the Eagles' defense has not been very good, and they haven't played great quarterbacks as of yet, but they're 7-1. They're 7-1. They should be the top seed. So I would say Eagles, Lions, Cowboys. No, excuse me, Niners, Cowboys, because we saw what happened head-to-head. Niners and Cowboys. Now, if the Niners falling off, the Brock Purdy thing's a little weird.
I got Chase Young today.
Their defense should be better with Chase Young. I would think.
That's either going to work beautifully or be a like Clipper situation where you have a bunch of alphas and it's like, how do we all work together here?
Yep,
that could be tough. But they have their D line talent wise: Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Randy Gregory, Javon Hargrave. You're like, whoa here. Cleveland Farrell, who was the top 5 pick a couple years ago.
Yeah. By the Raiders?
Yeah. It's like, whoa, yeah, a bunch of names there. Can they all work together? That's going to be the question.
Next question.
Rank the top 4 teams in the AFC.
I would go Kansas City 1, Miami 2, Buffalo 3, Jacksonville 4. But it's a toss-up for me with Jacksonville and Baltimore. But I'll just stick with what I said.
I'm going to do what you... Yeah, I'll say... I thought you were going to say Dolphins than Chiefs, because within the last couple of weeks, you've said Dolphins over Chiefs.
I have?
You have.
Well, we'll find out this weekend when they play in Germany.
Yes, because nothing is more of a factor in who's better than playing in Frankfurt in week 8 or week 9.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go Chiefs, Dolphins. I agree with that. And then I'm going to go Ravens, Bills. So Chiefs, Dolphins, Ravens,
good,
Bills. Yeah, the Jags, to your point, Jags get San Francisco, right, in a couple of weeks in Jacksonville. Are the Niners coming off a bye? So Niners have a bye this week and then in Jacksonville. Is that right?
Yeah. So I think Jacksonville's a bye too.
It's a big game.
It's like 2 bye.
That's a big game.
Yeah.
That's a very big game.
The Niners lose that game. Like, you can't lose 4 in a row there. And Jacksonville's 6-2 and one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
One of the like sneaky good teams in the NFL.
Sneaky good game, is it not? Jacksonville and
game.
San Francisco. I don't think before the season we're thinking, man, that's a must-watch game. But yeah. I'm intrigued by it. Have you talked at all? Because I wasn't here yesterday, and I feel like it's been tossed around here recently, this idea of adding 4 teams in Europe.
What?
You haven't heard about this?
No, I've not talked about that, John.
The commissioner, have you heard about this idea? The commissioner's kind of...
In the NFL?
Yeah, because remember, Jacksonville played back-to-back games in London this year. I think that's only happened 1 or 2 times ever in the history of the league. They're testing out, like, what's it like to keep a team over there for 2 weeks? But this idea that if you're going to expand to London, maybe you have 2 teams in London, maybe add a team in Frankfurt, maybe add another team in Europe, like Paris, and then you have a 4-team division in Europe.
That's stupid.
Okay, so you're anti. See, the reason I'm anti is if you're adding 4 teams, just add them in America.
Yeah. Like, you have plenty of places in America that...
San Diego, San Antonio, St. Louis, boom.
That could
Oakland,
use NFL
there.
teams.
I just did it.
I just feel like across the pond, as they say.
I like that.
NFL,
very creative.
Yeah, very. I mean, come on. Do we really think that NFL is like potentially could be the number 1 sport over there? No.
No, I mean, would it sell? I mean, would those games sell out? Probably. I mean, there's a lot of people in London with the appeal of it, but he's so broad that they could do that.
The time change and living overseas, like that to me would just, I don't think it would work. It's the NFL trying to be greedy. Shocker. But yeah, it wouldn't work for me.
What about...
And I wouldn't want to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning to watch an NFL game.
Well, you don't have to. Oh, on the West Coast, sure. But the people in like London don't have to do that.
Yeah, but I don't care about.
You don't worry about.
I don't care about people in London. I care about
let me ask you this:
me.
Are you in favor of a? Are you in favor of a London Super Bowl?
No,
because I think that's coming too. I think they're going to try to push that on us. The London Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're going to try to push everything on us.
But I would say just add a team in San Diego.
Yeah, okay.
Add a team in Oakland.
Yeah, that'll
happen.
Add
a team in St. Louis.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Add a team in San Antonio. You got your... Here's the one thing I would do if I was the NFL. You know the next thing I'm doing if I'm the NFL and I want to make more money? I'm expanding. Because expansion fees are in the billions. In the billions. Has anyone ever said, man, 32 is the right number. If there were 34, it just wouldn't work. There's just not enough football players for 34 teams. Has anyone ever said that? I haven't heard it.
No, there's plenty of football players.
That's what I'm saying. So I think expansion is coming in like the near term. I think in the short to medium term, you're going to get expansion. The question is, are they willing to expand overseas? And again, I'm not an advocate of it either, but like, why have you been playing games in London for the last decade? And why have you added games in Germany and Mexico?
Because they're trying to expand the NFL because the NFL loves what, John?
So what are they telling us?
They love money.
What are they saying? That teams are coming overseas in the future. That's what I think. Because if you have a division, by the way, in Europe, you don't have to come to the States all that often. If there's 3 other teams in Europe, you've got like 5 road games in the U.S.
They're doing so many games across seas. Like there's at least 1 or 2 games every single week now.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Overseas.
Right.
I personally don't see any appeal to it at all. It just you're losing home games for these teams.
But they added in the 17th game for this.
I don't think that the appeal overseas is what the NFL thinks it is. Of course, they're going to get a bunch of money for it, and they're going to whatever. But do you think people in London and Germany, if they have sports talk over there, are talking about the NFL every single week?
No. Do they have sports talk over there?
Yeah, of course they do.
Do they?
Think. Yeah,
I don't know, dude.
I was on like a Fox Sports Australia show a couple weeks ago.
Australia isn't Europe.
I know, but that's not my point. I was just saying, like they have sports shows all over across the country.
That's
the
a
world,
different country
across the world. My bad.
They argue who's going to be the next cricket manager.
Yeah. Yeah. But in London,
so you're not in favor.
I'm just no. It doesn't make sense to me. And the only reason why it makes sense is if you're the NFL is because you're going to get a boatload of money. But hey,
that's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
That's why it's happening.
Exactly.
All right, Farbot Esnashari, he covers the Clippers. He's been all over this trade. James Harden heading west from Philadelphia. What does it mean for the Western Conference? Well, join us on the other side. Plus, Trainwreck Radio this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023. This is at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th through the 12th. We'll talk some Clippers with Farbot Esnashari. James Harden's impact will join us next. Farbod Esnashari covers the Clippers for SI.com. What is the fit? James Harden with the Clippers. He'll join us next.
All right, this update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Game 4 of the World Series tonight in Arizona. Rangers have a 2-1 series lead, but Adolis Garcia, who injured his oblique in last night's game, he has now been out. He's been ruled out for the rest of the World Series, been taken off the postseason roster. Same thing with Max Scherzer. NBA trades last night, early in the morning. James Harden going from the Sixers to the LA Clippers. And NFL trade deadline day today. Big name Chase Young being traded from the Commanders to the 49ers for a third-round conditional draft pick. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
James Harden to the Clippers. Farbod Esnashari covers the Clippers for SINow.com. He's been covering the Clippers for a long time. A big move, obviously, today in the NBA so early in the season. How does it impact both the Clippers and the Western Conference? Farbod, good to have you with us. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. As we know, I mean, Harden, listen, you can't argue the numbers. He's put up huge years before. Even last year, he led the NBA in assists per game. But what is the expected fit? How is Harden going to fit with this group in your estimation?
I mean, to be honest, it's really hard to figure out how it fits. If it was just Kawhi, PG, and Harden, and you had Harden take up the ball, it makes a lot more sense. But Kawhi, PG, Harden, and Russ, 4 people that can control the ball, that's where it gets really difficult, because typically teams only do 3. They do a big 3. They don't do a big 4. And I know the 4 of them have all been communicating all off season. This is something they've been planning for a while. So I would like to believe that they have something in mind, and Ty Lue is smart enough of a coach. And Ty has also known about these conversations for a while. So I'm sure they have something in mind. But defensively, too, it might be a little scary with Harden and Russ at the same time.
With the players that they gave up for James Harden, do you feel like the Clippers are better now than they were yesterday, or no?
It's tough to say because you can look at it from two different perspectives. On one end, they gave up all their wings. They gave up a really good culture guy in Nicholas Batum. They gave up a good defender in Robert Covington. But on the other end, you can look at it as Nicholas Batum was about to retire at the end of the season. Robert Covington wasn't even in the rotation last year, and Marcus Morris wasn't in the rotation this year. So they gave up that for a guy who averages 20 and 10. And so I would say the problem with the Clippers is they've always looked good on paper, and then they just get hurt. So on paper, that team did look good enough to go far, the one they just had. But because history's repeated itself so many times, you have to be prepared for that. And I think adding Harden gives such a level of just alleviation where if Kawhi gets hurt and you still have PG, Harden, and Russ, that's okay. You could still do pretty fine and stay alive in the standings. So it just makes them more durable, if anything.
Farbod Esnashari with us right now, covers the Clippers for SI Now, joining us on Jon and Jim. So speaking of Kawhi, we know obviously he's coming off a knee. It's been a storyline for the last couple of seasons, played last year despite the fact that he wasn't 100%. I know it's very early. How has Kawhi looked, and what are the expectations for his workload here throughout the course of the year?
I mean, he's looked really good. Throughout training camp, he's been smiling all the time and really happy, and I think it's because he knows he feels good. Last year at the start of the season, from day one, he immediately was telling us, hey, this is a 2-year injury recovery. Yep. You shouldn't have that kind of expectation on me. And now that he's in that second year, I think he feels good enough to play through as many games as he can. But the big question mark is going to be whether or not him and PG play tomorrow against the Lakers, since it's their first back-to-back of the season. We asked Ty Lue about it, and he said they're just going to kind of feel it out. So that's going to be the interesting one, is whether or not they play in all the back-to-back.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is I feel like the Clippers are the poster child for load management just because of Kawhi. And you've seen teams around the NBA kind of just, it's load management. Who cares? Like Bradley Beal and Devin Booker haven't played for a while for the Suns, even though Booker played on opening night. Other teams are kind of, whatever, we're going to rest some guys. But especially for the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George and a lot of older players here dealing with a lot of injuries in their past, how have the Clippers, I guess, looked at the load management rule for this season?
Kawhi got asked about that during media day, and he actually got really upset, and I've never seen him get that mad at a question. And he was just kind of telling everyone, I was actually hurt. I had a torn ACL and a torn meniscus. It's not like I stand around on the court and do nothing. I'm guarding the best player every night and having to be a focal point of the offense. And he doubled down on it really hard. He said, if I'm healthy, I'm going to play. So I think the big question for Kawhi is, how bad is the degenerative knee disorder he has? Because when you look at the differences between his injuries and Paul George's injuries, Paul George's are all these freak accidents where someone puts their foot under his foot when he's shooting a jumper, or he's diving for a loose ball and someone lands on his elbow. But Kawhi's are more like the guy just steps on the ground or he's just running and suddenly it's a torn meniscus, and he'll still drop 30 on it, but then it'll be a torn meniscus that nobody knew about. So that's the scary thing for Kawhi right there, is how do you balance that? Where is that going to be his future forever in the NBA, where if he overloads himself, his knee just kind of gives out and he gets another major injury?
Farbod Esnashari is with us. He covers the Clippers for SI Now. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is it a year from now that the Clippers are moving to Inglewood, the Intuit Dome? Is that 1 year from now?
So everything, it's kind of crazy when you look at it. Everything is a year from now. So Kawhi's up in a year. PG's up in a year. James Harden's up in a year. The new arena is next year. Ty Lue is up in a year, and I believe Lawrence Frank is up in a year. So when you look at it from that way, it felt like the Clippers were in a situation where they had to make a splash.
Interesting. So for our listeners that aren't familiar, thinking, well, the Clippers play at the Staples Center. Why do they need their own arena in Inglewood? What's the impact here? The revenue, the scheduling? What I mean, they're spending obviously hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure more than that, on this arena. So what was the thought process here, and how critical? Why was this so critical for the Clippers organization?
The main thing for them was the schedule. Everybody hated the morning games, and
Right.
they get third priority at Staples Center behind the Kings and then the Lakers. So, I mean, when you look at last year or even this year, last year they had like the most 3 and 4 nights out of anyone in the league by a wide margin. And then this year they travel the most distance because of the way they scheduled their road trips. They travel the most out of anyone in the NBA by a wide margin. It's just year after year, they've been getting worse and worse schedules. The years that the Lakers aren't competitive and the Lakers don't care, then it's not as big of a deal. But last year, I think the Lakers specifically chose to have a better schedule in place of better TV spots because they wanted that advantage of being the higher priority in the arena. And it upsets the players. And I know it also, some of the players, like Terrence Mann was telling us at Media Day, he feels like the Staples Center staff aren't very friendly. And he'd rather have his own staff that are actual Clipper fans as opposed to Lakers fans that are kind of disrespectful.
Interesting. That's interesting there.
His exact words, or he used an expletive, but yeah, to describe them. But he's ready to go. Like a lot of those guys are ready to go.
Sounds like it. When you look at the, I guess, hierarchy of the Western Conference, would you put the Clippers in the top 4 right now? I know it's hard to say that because they just got a new, entirely different type of roster construction with James Harden in the mix now. But do you view them as a top 4 team in the West?
You know, I kind of had them, if they were healthy, as top 4 with before it. It would go, in my opinion, it would go like Nuggets at number 1, and then Phoenix, I think, at 2, and then Lakers, Clippers, a toss-up between 3 and 4. Memphis is not going to be in the spot they were in last year because they're already so injured from the get-go. So that 2 spot is going to get dragged down. I guess you could put them at top 4. OKC is the one that's going to be the wild card to see how good they are, but I think the Nuggets showed the difference between them and OKC when they stomped them by over 20.
Farbod, before you go, you mentioned Kawhi, who's up at the end of the year as a free agent, like all these players basically are. Is there any chance Kawhi isn't back? They've been, I mean, the speculation is Kawhi would be back with the Clippers, right? What could change that?
I think he's back. The only thing that could change that would be maybe if he got another injury and then the team, like the organization themselves, decided maybe it might be time to move on, because he's only been, in his entire tenure with the Clippers, he's only had one healthy playoff run, and that was the bubble. Other than that, he's gotten injured or hasn't been able to play every single playoff. So unless the team decides suddenly they're ready to move on, I think he's coming back. And I think with that new arena coming, there's no way the Clippers are going to go in there without having Kawhi and PG and then someone else. But that new arena changes a lot. If they didn't have that new arena, I think the Clippers would have a lot more just kind of courage when it comes to moving on from an injury-prone star like they have in the past with Blake Griffin when they just traded him on a random night for Tobias Harris. But with that new arena, I don't think they're going to take that chance.
By the way, that arena drawing inspiration from Viejas Arena in San Diego. I remember when, why is the name failing me? Well, yeah, when Ballmer was here for Kawhi's jersey ceremony night at Viejas Arena, he took inspiration with the Intuit Dome, one of the sections or one of the sides with that, like, I don't even know, the elevation, I guess, of one of the sides below a basket. Farbod, we appreciate your time. We look forward to catching up throughout the course of the season. Thanks for taking some time for us here in San Diego.
I'm glad we talked in the regular season, because I'm not going to forget they lost every playoff game when I talked to them.
That's right. That's right.
It was our fault.
Good point.
It was our fault.
Good
We're
point.
sorry about that.
Thank you, Farbod.
Have a good one.
All right, Farbod Esnashari covers the Clippers for SI
But
now.
I'm not really that upset about it, to be honest with you.
You aren't as a Warriors fan. Yeah, exactly. If you're not a Clippers fan, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm not really that upset about it.
All right, here's what I need you to do. We're going to play Trainwreck Radio Sports Trivia on the other side, not you. Call right now if you want a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023, Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th to the 12th. Okay, call right now, 844-570-1360. First 2 callers will be our contestants for a 4-pack of tickets. Great prize to Snow Jam 2023. This is at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th to the 12th. An unforgettable event. You need to call right now, 844-570-1360. Discover an extensive collection of alpine skis, snowboards, boots, bindings, gloves, goggles, everything else you need for a fantastic winter season. 844-570-1360. A 4-pack of tickets, free tickets to Snow Jam 2023. Trainwreck Radio is next. Stay with us. Can't wait to get over to Windmill Farms tomorrow. I'll be over at San Diego State doing the Brady Hoke Show and then picking up lunch from Windmill Farms. I've been telling you, the place to grab your lunch during your work week is Windmill Farms. Why? Because with the sandwich card, your 8th sandwich is free, because their sandwiches are outstanding with quality ingredients and low prices as well. It's also the place where you should be kicking off your weekend, getting ready for all your tailgating and game day needs over at Windmill Farms. Family owned. Last time I was over there, I saw their owner, Trevor. I saw his mom over there. They've been doing local grocery business for decades. They've got tons of local businesses right inside Windmill Farms. They're the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered during your work week, also for your game day needs with the organic farm fresh produce and meats, the amazing craft beer selection. You need to see it. It's a spectacular place with the beer and the kombucha and more. The full deli, again, your 8th sandwich is free. And they've got those sandwich prices incredibly low, centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. They've been family owned in the San Diego area for over 20 years. And here's the deal. If you don't live or work near Del Cerro, it's not a problem. You can find Windmill Farms on Instacart. Have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. Check out their weekly specials. Do that, windmillfarmsmarket.com. Again, their weekly specials at windmillfarmsmarket.com. Support local, shop at Windmill Farms. All right, call right now. We need a caller to play Bill in Trivia Trainwreck Radio. Caller 2 has dropped off. Who wants a free 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023 at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th to the 12th? You need to call right now if you want that free 4-pack of tickets. Great prize, 844-570-1360. You can discover the extensive collection of alpine skis, snowboards, boots, and more. Fantastic deals. Competitive prices that rival online deals. You'll find the best prices right there. But that's not all. Snow Jam San Diego is an unbeatable value for your winter adventures. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Mark your calendars for November 10th through the 12th. Call right now if you want a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023, Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th to the 12th. Call right now, 844-570-1360. Again, the number to call, 844-570-1360, a free 4-pack. You need to call right now. I'm going to get on my high horse for a second.
Oh, here we go. And if it has to do with the college football playoff?
It does.
Oh, yes.
Why is undefeated Air Force behind one-loss Tulane?
Well, why not?
In the quest to get to the New Year's Six. So I looked at Tulane's schedule. It's not impressive other than their one loss. They lost to Ole Miss. Congratulations, you lost. Air Force has played a very comparable schedule. And guess what? Yeah, they didn't play a program out of the Power 5 as of yet, but they didn't lose out of the Power 5 either. So it's like I look at the Air Force wins, I look at the Tulane wins, and I don't see how you could put an undefeated Air Force behind a one-loss Tulane, Jim Russell.
What do you make of Ohio State being number 1?
I don't care about any of that because that sorts itself out. Ohio State's going to play Michigan. Yeah. Like, I'm not worried about who's number 1. I am worried about Air Force being one spot behind Tulane. It's so arbitrary. It's so invite feeling, which is what it is. It's so anti-playoff. It's the most anti-playoff ever. Is it not? I mean, it would be like saying, oh, you know what? The Niners are 5-3, but this 4-4 team is better, and here's why. You're getting way too cute. Like, let the results matter. Air Force has won every single game they've played, and they haven't played all Division II opponents.
John, what do you expect? It's the college football playoff. There's always controversy with this stuff. Always. It's stupid because you are having teams.
I'm screaming at a Pikachu outfit, by the way.
This is absurd. This is stupid. Pikachu. Stupid. I hate this. Pikachu.
I demand to be taken seriously.
Yes, take me seriously. I'm dressed up as Ash Ketchum and you're Pikachu. It's people in a room making decisions based off of like what they feel that is like what they feel is right, not actual stats and numbers. Now, actual stats and numbers are used, obviously, duh. But you got people in like, oh, I think this school should be number 1. I think this school should be above that school. It's just stupid.
Yes, I do agree with that. It's stupid, and it's always been a little stupid because you've got people in a room deciding the top 4 teams, and that's completely arbitrary and subjective. But even the top 12 is weird. The top 25, even when they expand this thing to 12, yeah, it kind of gets better, but it doesn't really get better. You're going to have the same thing. The 12th team in the playoff between Air Force and Tulane, is that going to be quote unquote fair when the final week of the season you have undefeated Air Force and one lost Tulane and then one goes and the other doesn't?
I know. I don't know, dude. I am very curious to see how the 12-team playoff shapes out.
Me too.
And the matchups will be interesting because you could have a undefeated team above or below a one-loss team potentially, just because of the strength of schedule. All right, that's why also too. Like Michigan's played nobody. They played
So why? Great point. So they're not number 1 though. They're number 3.
They're number 3.
But they're undefeated. They've played nobody. They're number 3. Air Force is undefeated. They've played nobody. They're number 25.
All right.
If Air Force was wearing Michigan uniforms, would they still be number 25?
No, they'd be number
5. Exactly. Number 4.
Here, let me just look at their stupid schedule.
Who, Michigan's?
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. Who have they played non-conference?
Bunch of cheaters.
I did a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah, they beat UNLV. Great. You know,
they beat East Carolina, beat UNLV, Bowling Green.
Yeah, that's their non-conference. Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota. Indiana and Michigan State. Give me a break. That's such a good point, Jim, that you just made. It's like your best point.
Best point ever.
Their schedule is legitimately comparable to Air Force's, and they're separated by 22 spots.
You know what's amazing, though, John? If I'm looking at this, and this is correct, Michigan this year has scored a total of 325 points.
Okay.
They have given up
no points.
47 on the year.
Yeah, they're rolling everyone.
They've given up 47 points in 8 games. And they've scored 325.
No, that's good.
In 8 games.
But to your point, they haven't exactly played Ohio State.
Ohio State, by the way, 5-0. They're 8-0 overall. They've scored 260 points. They've given up only 80.
Point differential.
But, yeah, come on, give me a break. I mean, look.
Extend them. Extend Ryan Day. Point differential.
Purdue, crap. Penn State, that's the first game they play this year where it's a legitimate school. But Penn State, 7-1.
Yeah.
And they're ranked 11th.
Hold on, let's go to the phones because Terry wants to weigh in. 844-570-1360.
Terry.
By the way, Paul Garrison's going to join us on the Aztecs exhibition win last night. We'll talk San Diego State football back in action, homecoming on Saturday. Terry, you're on with John and Jim. Thanks for calling.
Hey, guys, how you doing? Well, you've got a problem that nothing's going to change for the non-Power 5 teams, regardless of the structure of the playoff. The non-Power 5 teams need to break off, start their own league, stop taking these stupid paydays to go get your ass kicked, and form their own league, and then force the Power 5 schools to only play each other, and then their rankings will be horrible because they're going to have losses. And in regard to Michigan, Jim Harbaugh was going to get fired before all the spying started on other teams. Don't you think it's a little bit of a coincidence that now they're really good and we find out there's a spying scandal? So that's my opinion.
I would just say this, Terry, real quick, and maybe Terry's gone. Maybe you're still there. You're saying you don't like the group of 5 programs playing guarantee games. You're saying like San Diego State doesn't play guarantees. Everything's a home and home. UCLA home and home. Oregon State home and home. So they're not playing any bye games. Now some of the programs are.
I'm talking about the others when you have to go play back to play. You go play Notre Dame at Notre Dame, and they've got all these teams that are going in for a payday to get their money.
Sure.
Don't play those games anymore because if they break off, completely exclude themselves, then there's a risk to do it. But they could have their own playoff, have a 16-team playoff, play it during the week in December.
Thank you,
go
Terry.
after your own money.
I would just say this: the whole own playoff, and I know we have to get to Paul Garrison. Why is in Division I basketball, San Diego State can play Michigan, but when it comes to Division I football, no, they should be at separate levels?
John, we know football is just a different entity.
I know, but it's unfair.
It is unfair.
Or it's unfortunate.
Well,
that's actually the word I was looking for.
You know what drives college football?
Money.
The same thing that drives the NFL. Money.
Same with college basketball. The NCAA tournament is a $1 billion per year entity.
Yes, but the NCAA tournament is, I feel like, pretty much perfect when it comes to deciding.
It's good.
A champion.
Paul Garrison, East Village Times, San Diego State basketball. He was there last night. He'll get us ready for this weekend for the football team as well. He'll join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jim Petrell Real Estate Team. Game 4 of the World Series, moments away from first pitch in Arizona. The big news there, Adolis Garcia, the ALCS MVP, has been ruled out now for the remainder of the World Series with an oblique strain. Also, Max Scherzer has been ruled out for the remainder of the World Series as well. Rangers lead that series 2-1. NBA trade late last night. James Harden was traded from the Sixers to the LA Clippers. And today on NFL trade deadline day, Chase Young was traded from the Washington Commanders to the 49ers for a third-round conditional draft pick. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Happy Halloween. Final hour of Jon and Jim. We're going to catch up with Paul Garrison from the East Village Times in a moment. He was at San Diego State's exhibition game yesterday. We'll talk about this weekend for the Aztec football team against Utah State as well. By the way, Chris Ackers, San Diego State assistant, will join us tomorrow at 3:30 right here on Jon and Jim. But always great to have Paul with us. He's typically with us on Fridays. I want to grab him a little earlier in the week because he was at the exhibition last night. I wasn't. I was traveling. And we could talk some San Diego State football as well. But Paul Garrison, East Village Times, a great follow and resource for Aztec football and basketball fans, back with us on Jon and Jim. And Paul, we appreciate it. And first of all, what did you see last night in the exhibition against San Marcos that stuck out?
Jaden Ledee. He was absolutely sensational. You can talk about the fact that, Cal State San Marcos was clearly undersized, but he did everything. He had a couple of threes. He had a step back jumper to beat the shot clock. It didn't matter if, Elijah Saunders was in there and Ledee was playing the center role. It didn't matter if they had a big and Miles Heide or DeMarche Johnson inside that post presence and then kind of pushing Ledee to the outside. He still was able to be really effective. And I think, going forward, I think for the Aztecs to be able to kind of reach the expectations that they've created for themselves, they're going to need someone to be a true star in college basketball. And for one night anyway, Jaden Ledee showed that.
Of the players that they lost from last year's team, who do you think is going to have, I guess, the most impact felt, like the loss felt the most with this year's team?
I think it's Nathan Mensah. I mean, obviously he was the one who is still, I guess, with that two-way contract in the NBA. So I think, kind of talent scouts saw it that way as well. But San Diego State has built itself around defense. And once Mensah was able to switch all 5 ball screens, he was able to know how, like, the full scouting report of like what teams had shooters, which players were shooters, which players he could give help on, and did a lot of the complexity of the defense beginning like his sophomore year. San Diego State basically played their entire system around what his strengths were. And so I think they're not going to be as good defensively, especially early. And honestly, probably fairly, they don't have a defensive player like Mensah. And so I think that's the person they're going to miss the most.
Paul Garrison with East Village Times with us right now, and Jon and Jim. So the Aztecs have a couple of returnees from last year's team that we didn't see a ton of. I'm talking about now the sophomores in Miles Byrd and Elijah Saunders. I know they both played somewhat extensively last night. What did you see from those two, and what do you expect their roles to be this year?
The roles I think are still, waiting to be determined. I thought starting with Miles Byrd, I thought he was really, really good. his ability, his length to be able to get to balls that other people can't get on the court. There was a loose ball that ended in an alley-oop to Miles Heide from Miles Bird, where it looked like the San Marcos player just was going to control the ball, and somehow, Miles Bird was able to extend his arms and poke it away. He got a few blocks at the rim. He ran the backup point guard, which, assuming that Darian Trammell starts whenever he's healthy alongside Lamont Butler, they're going to need someone to be able to take some minutes at that point guard. Had a few too many turnovers, but he brought an energy and an excitement to the court. And then I thought Elijah Saunders, it's a real interesting question about how Brian Dutcher wants to play Jaden Ledee. Does he want to put him as the center, which would force him to play defense against the biggest player on the other side? Or does he want to have, Miles Heide or someone else play next to him? And I think Elijah Saunders, he gives the ability to kind of have the best of both worlds. Elijah Saunders started last night, and he started at the 4. He was outside. He hit a jumper on the outside. And you could really see why that would be an attractive offensive attack that Brian Dutcher would want to have, to be able to have Ledee in the middle, in the post. There was a really nice jumper that, I beg your pardon, there was a really nice pass that Saunders gave for a dunk to Ledee. And so I think that, the other piece with Saunders, and I've asked him this post game, he has been in the program, it's his second year, and all last year he practiced as if he was going to play, as if he was a rotation player. And so he's been in the system doing all of the defensive stuff that, the Aztecs want, and he's taken the challenge of trying to be the person who can replace, Aguka Rope and Keshad Johnson.
Paul, moving over to the football side of San Diego State, what do you make of where the program is at right now after their most recent and, coming off a bye week this week, just everything that this program has gone through? Where is the state of the program in your eyes?
In my eyes, I think they're at a crossroads. There is, and I think over the next 4 games, I think you're really going to be able to see, which path they go down. There is tremendous risk to kind of hitting a reset on the program, letting go of Brady Hoke, deciding to bring in a new coach, having a new culture, when they've had 13 years of success from a culture that Brady Hoke started, Rocky Long continued, and Hoke is continuing it now. And to push that reset button comes with tremendous risk, especially at a place, if you look at the history of San Diego State, has had a difficult time hiring head coaches. The flip side of that is if the team does not respond, starting this weekend against Utah State, and they have another performance like they have had against Nevada, then you start asking the question, has Brady Hoke lost this team? And that's, I think, the crossroads, is if the team responds and they show fight and they show competitiveness and they show all of those things that have made the Aztecs good over the last 13 years, and they show that over the last month, then I think that answers the question that Brady Hoke still has this team. The culture is still in place, and, they need to get into the transfer portal. Players need to develop, and they can shoot for next year and to be better. The flip side of it is if they don't respond and they, kind of have like another lethargic game like they had against Nevada, where, you don't see the competitiveness, the physicality that we're all used to with San Diego State, then the culture is no longer there. And you start really asking that question seriously, can somebody else do better?
These last 4 games, Utah State, a little bit of a toss-up. San Diego State opened as a slight favorite. Now they're a slight underdog. Then it gets only more challenging, you would think. Colorado State has impressed at times. San Jose State, I think, has played better than their record would indicate. And then you have Fresno State at home. And, of course, Fresno State's put together a very good year. What do you make of what's to come here, and what's realistic for these final 4 games?
That's a really challenging question, only because San Diego State has been so inconsistent that, if they get inconsistent in the other direction, where all of a sudden they start playing really, really well, which we've seen them do at times, they're capable of winning all 4 games. I think when it comes to the talent that is in the team, ability to match up with all of them. You look at everybody except for Fresno State in the group that you mentioned, they've been equally as inconsistent. San Jose State has played better, as you talked about, but they've had great first half followed by absolutely horrible second half throughout the year. Utah State, same kind of thing. They'll start slow, and then their offense will be able to put a bunch of points together. Colorado State, again, it's the same thing. They had that great game against Colorado that they should have won, but then they haven't been able to put together 4 quarters since then. And San Diego State has the ability to go and beat those teams talent-wise, but again, it comes back to, can they get back to playing Aztec football? Can they get back to that identity of physicality, being able to just be better than the person in front of them because they want to win and get better? So I think the potential is there, and regardless of what ultimately J.D. Wicker decides about the state of the football program, ending this year is huge, I think, for the Aztecs.
Paul, always appreciate it. We will catch up with you. We're looking forward to some football this weekend. And, of course, basketball, the official regular season opener is a week from yesterday right here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll be talking throughout the course of this upcoming fall and winter. So thank you, Paul, for doing it.
Always appreciate you guys.
All right, Paul Garrison with the East Village Times. You're going to hear from Brady Hoke in his own words at his press conference today on the program and on those that have been upset about these last handful of weeks, on the fans that have been upset about this 3-5 starts of the season. You'll hear from Brady Hoke coming up at 5:30. We started the show, Jim, by talking about the Padres and their managerial search because Dennis Lin tweeted today that Benji Gill, Phil Nevin, and Eric Chavez are among the external candidates who are in various stages of the interview process. Britt Giroli then followed up and said Eric Chavez is not a candidate, but both Nevin, who's going to be interviewed or has been interviewed, and they've begun the process with Benji Gill as well. They both said, though, that Mike Schilt and Ryan Flaherty remain the favorites for the job at this point.
Yeah, I'd still be surprised if it's anybody but those two.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's typical AJ. It just is typical Padres to keep it in-house and, have it be somebody that has been around this organization and dysfunction for the better part of the last couple of years, instead of going out and getting someone else that hasn't been a part of this dysfunction and bringing new ideas and new voices and new whatever into this franchise. So it's typical AJ. Will it work out? I don't know. Do I have any faith in AJ? Absolutely not. But hey, Ryan Flaherty, Mike Schilt, like I've been saying, we have no choice. There's no choice here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no choice. If they hire one of these guys, when they hire one of these guys, what are we going to do? Just not talk Padres anymore? Just not have a wrap-up show anymore? Not have Jon and Jim anymore? Like this,
nailed it.
We're done. We're done.
But let me ask you this: the no faith thing, and I agree with your sentiment. Will you have no faith regardless of whether it's internal or external? Like, are you going to be like,
no,
Benji Gill, he got it right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so you're going to have the same feeling.
Same feeling.
Yeah.
I think I would feel a little like, oh,
Interesting. He was willing to consider something from the outside.
Yeah. Benji Gill, Joe Espada, maybe like
Craig Counsell,
who don't think he's going to interview here. He's already interviewed with the Guardians and the Mets. He might, I don't know if he's going to return to Milwaukee, but at the same time, to not go and just interview him, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. It feels like their mind is already made up. They're just doing this to do their quote unquote due diligence. And then they can say, we went through an extensive.
Oh yeah. We exhausted every path. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think if it's Schilder Flaherty, you're going to hear, we exhausted every path. This was the most sought after job in the history of baseball.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Right. Oh, we've had so much interest in the hours since Bob Melvin has officially departed. We've heard from everyone.
Yeah. Stop.
But we hired Ryan Flaherty.
You have people inside your own organization, AJ, that say, why would anybody want to come work here? Who wants to be here right now? So for me, the Padres are I'll believe it when I see it type of team and franchise at this moment in time. Like, I'll believe it if it's going to work when I see it. And I'm not saying it's that this manager is going to 100% fail, but I'm also leaning on the side of, if you tell me right now, all right, let's pick one. He fails or he succeeds. What do you think is going to happen? Well, knowing the track record of AJ, whoever the manager comes in is going to fail. Like that's what I would just be leaning towards. Like I would expect the new manager to fail than to succeed because of what AJ has been a part of for the last and what he has created over the last couple of years. But I would love it if the new manager and whoever they hire comes in and they prove everybody wrong and they win and they're consistent and there's no more BS drama and they actually, like, I don't know, get along. And instead of getting articles talking about how dysfunctional his franchise is, we get articles about talking about how everyone's on the same page and everybody's doing a great job. And it's like a kumbaya, like a real kumbaya.
Yeah,
that's fake BS stuff.
That won't happen. But I think a legitimate question is who outlasts the other, the manager or the general manager.
Well,
and based on the last 10 years, it's clearly the general manager. Yeah, I don't know if they're both. You're saying in 2024, if the team goes 80 and 82, I wonder if you blow out the GM before the manager.
There is no scenario, whoever AJ hires, that the manager outlasts AJ.
None?
None.
Zip? You tell me you hire Benji Gill tomorrow.
Fine.
They go 82 and 80.
I'll give it a 99% chance.
And then the new GM fires Benji Gill in 2025?
Yeah, dude.
But that's a guarantee?
I said 99%. 99%.
844-570-1360. What do you think of the direction of this managerial search that the Padres are currently conducting? 844-570-1360. Let's go to Greg. Greg, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
I was just saying that the Padres are so handcuffed by A.J. Preller being the general manager with trying to find any sort of manager search. It seems like every time that he's looking for a manager, it's almost just like lame duck managers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the guys that are never going to succeed except for Melvin, but Melvin actually seemed like he was a credible manager. And what ends up happening, AJ runs him out of town and they make it all kumbaya. Oh, we wouldn't want to, stand in the way of him with his dream job. Well, give me a break. You ran him out of town.
Right.
And so the way it should be done, which of course logic isn't always used, but what basically, you should have is, as Seidler should say, hey, look, if it's not working out next year, then it's like, okay, AJ's gone and, again, looking for a new manager. And it's almost like you should be getting rid of AJ at, after the trade deadline. So he makes all these, splashy trades that end up looking great on paper, but then don't produce on the field. Right. And then that gives you half a season to look for a general manager plus the off season. Because whenever, you fire these guys at the end of the season, that off season's like 2-3 months, which is not very long, especially if you're looking for a general manager, to hire.
Greg,
so
appreciate
really
it, man.
And
yeah. Oh, he could have finished, but I would say this though, that now makes the job even less appealing when we all put it like, well, AJ is gone if they don't win. If that's the case, if AJ is gone if they don't win and the manager's blown out, then how appealing is the job? Because there's no runway. There's no, hey, it's a 2-year job. No, it's a 1-year job. You have to win in year 1 or else, or we'll replace the position and we'll turn it over. So maybe that makes it even more likely you go internal because externally, those candidates understand that if they don't win immediately, they won't be there long term.
Say they do win next year. Say they win 85 games, make the postseason as a wild card.
Yep.
Make it to the divisional round.
Yeah.
They lose. People I think would be not happy with that because, I mean, the goal is to win the World Series. But I think it'd be like, oh, okay, we're moving in a better direction.
Definitely.
So then the following year turns out to be kind of
80
like
wins.
80 wins. Miss out in the postseason. I'm afraid that it will be like, well, they made the postseason last year, so we can give AJ Preller another chance. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
That's what happened in 2021. 2021, it was, this can't happen again. They made a fake postseason in 2020, and they used that as like gospel. It's like, oh, well, look at our run in 2020. And now the standard was, with all the money that we're spending here, we got to make the postseason. They made it in a big way in 2022, and then they failed this year. And now we get people saying like, well, they can't do this again. Well, they like literally did it again after we said they can't do it again after 2021.
True.
So when I say the next 3 years are so important for AJ specifically, is you cannot, I feel like, miss the postseason the next 3 years. You have to make the postseason.
Next 3 years, you can't miss next year, dude.
No, next year you can't miss.
Yeah.
The following year you can't miss.
Nah,
And the year after that you can't miss.
I disagree. I think if you made it the next 2 years, you could miss.
Huh?
I think if you made it in 23, in 24 and 25, you could definitely miss.
Well, they won the World Series the next couple of years.
Yeah, but dude, how many times have they made the postseason in the history of the franchise? If they make it 2 of the next 3 years, you're not losing your job.
Would you
and I know that.
And I know winning is the most important thing. And if they win, who cares? But do you also agree that there cannot be another piece from the Athletic?
No, they don't care about that. I don't think that matters.
You're right.
I don't think they care.
Yeah, they don't
because there's been a lot of pieces. They're not running the organization based on Athletic articles. 844-570-1360.
Let's go to Michael. So who cares?
Let's go to Michael real quick. Michael, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Jon and Jim, how you guys doing?
Hey, man.
Great, man.
Hey, I listened to Brady Hoke a little bit ago, and his interviews or press conferences, they're sounding worse and worse every week. He says, "Oh, we work our tails off every practice." He's been saying that since week 1, and I don't see where they're any better. They might win maybe 1 out of the next. Well, I'll give them 2. Maybe they might win 2 out of the next 4 games, but they probably won't make a bowl game, and that's sad. I don't know.
Michael, appreciate you calling in and listening. We do appreciate it. We're going to hear from Brady Hoke on the other side. All right, we'll hear from Brady on the state of the program on the other side. Plus, your calls in the Padres managerial search. Do you see it as legitimate, or are they solely focused on Mike Schild and Ryan Flaherty? 844-570-1360. Plus, Jim's back page on this Halloween night. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
Number This is
All right, Brady Hoke in his own words on the Aztecs program heading into this weekend against Utah State, plus your calls in the Padres managerial search at 844-570-1360, plus Jim's back page. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jim Petrell Real Estate Team. Game 4 of the World Series, Rangers D-backs, top of the second inning there. Still scoreless in Arizona. Adolis Garcia, the ALCS MVP for the Rangers, has been ruled out for the rest of the series with an oblique strain. Max Scherzer also ruled out as well. NBA news of the day. Early this morning, trade between the Sixers and the Clippers. James Harden going from the 76ers to the LA Clippers. And NFL trade deadline today, Chase Young, former number 2 overall pick, was traded from the Commanders to the San Francisco 49ers for a conditional 3rd-round pick. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, Jon and Jim with you. I'm sure Jim's going to have a pretty good back page related to Halloween because tonight is Halloween and I'm dressed up like Pikachu.
And I'm dressed up as Ash Ketchum.
Right.
Ash Ketchum, everybody. I know
the way you say it is weird.
Why?
Although I don't even know how you say it. So maybe
Ash
you're saying
Ketchum.
Ash.
Ash Ketchum.
Okay.
Ash.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's not that weird.
Not weird at all.
All right, Jim's back page coming up in about 15 minutes. By the way, we have giveaways. We have so much going on.
We do.
We have so much going on.
By the way, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks.
It took me
appreciate it.
2 hours and 32 minutes to say that.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
It was good to
be away from me.
Miss yesterday's show.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a short show.
I know it was.
Right? So you didn't need me yesterday. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
We will give away, be listening between now and 6 p.m. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam to give away at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. We've got a pair of tickets to the Vets Aid concert at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, November 12th. Be listening for your chance to win those tickets and prizes. All right, Brady Hoke today's weekly press conference. I wasn't there. I was traveling back from Philadelphia. He was asked about his response to fans being upset about the state of the program after losing to Nevada 2 weeks ago to fall to 3-5. This was Brady Hoke on, is he concerned about what fans are saying or the state of the program?
Well, number one, and you're right. I don't think about that too much because I just got other things to do. But I would say this. I would say I understand that. We're not happy either. We're working our tails off to get us, right the ship, if you will. And I think the players and I think the coaches have all been working their tails off, and we're going to continue to do that. And the only other thing I would say, and I've always said this, this at some point, this is about those kids out there, right? About them playing and supporting them.
All right, so Brady Hoke today, weekly press conference, 4 games remain. The math is relatively simple, although college football has gotten a little screwy with bowl games. But to get to 6 wins, they need to win 3 of the next 4. Utah State at home, about a 2-point underdog. At Colorado State, at San Jose State, home for Fresno State. We've talked about this for a week plus. It's a tricky path. It'll be, we're both curious. We'll be there Saturday for the 4:00 start. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760. We both want to see the way San Diego State plays this week off a bye.
Fans have every right to be upset if they want to be upset. If, the program isn't living up to what the expectation they've had for themselves, which is, I think, every year be in a bowl game and then to finally win another conference championship. And if you're not there and fans are upset about it, they have every right to be upset. I think that they should never be discredited. They should never be an afterthought, because you want to make sure that all fans are on board with you. You want to make sure all fans are there supporting you. I do think that these coaches work their tails off, and of course they would. If they weren't working hard, they wouldn't be coaches. And if they weren't working hard and they're still coaches, then that's a problem. But fans have a right to be upset if they want to be upset. If the product is not good, and the fans are showing their displeasure in the product, they have every right to do that.
Sure. That's kind of what he said.
I know. I'm just reiterating that fact.
Yeah.
That
he said he's like, yeah, they should be upset. I'm upset.
Everyone's upset.
Yeah.
This is not good enough.
Yeah. Again, what we've said repeatedly, what I've said repeatedly is that let's see what happens at the end of the year. Let's see how they play to finish. There's still a lot. 4 games is 1/3 of their season. 1/3 of their season is a lot of games. This would be like the Padres at the trade deadline. The Padres had 1/3 of their games remaining at the trade deadline. So it could have gone one of 2 ways. So, there's a big difference between winning 4 games, losing 4 games, winning 3 games, losing 3 games. There's a big difference. So,
and we said that at the end of the year, we'll evaluate the overall season. It's not going good right now, but if they happen to pull off, just 1 game at a time, But yeah, at the end of the year, after these next 4 games, we'll evaluate and we'll go from there. But as of right now, the direction feels like it's not going the right way.
This is the game, and we've said that a lot, but like when you look at these last 4, home, Utah State, homecoming, the last time you played was the Mountain West Championship game a couple of years ago, and you had all those players out due to COVID. It's got to start here this weekend against Utah State.
You cannot play coming off a bye week like a bad football game. If you come out this week, and Paul mentioned it, if you come out this week and you look flat and you play, I don't want to put the bar like at the Nevada game because that's the lowest possible you can get. But if you come out and you don't look crisp and you look sloppy and all of the things that this Aztec team this year has done, then it's like, okay, we officially have a major problem. If not already right now.
You saw what Nevada did last week? I'm sure you talked about that yesterday.
No, I didn't, John.
You know what they did?
They played football?
They beat New Mexico.
Great.
34-24. 2-game winning streak for the Wolfpack. I told you they beat someone. They beat multiple teams at this point.
That Aztec game was the jumping off point for the rest of their season.
They might finish 6-0 to get to 6-6.
Get your Twitter ready, Jim. Former Padre Travis Jankowski, bloop RBI single, 1-0 Rangers.
Wow.
Was it an RBI single? I think the Rangers scored on a pass ball. They scored on a pass ball. I'm like pretty sure on that. Yeah. Pass ball.
So they already led 1-0. Yep.
Yeah, just a
Brent, can we get to this? And we have Snow Jam tickets to give away in a moment.
Okay.
Taking a look back at the Aztecs.
Work back. Hit as he let the ball go in the air. Intercepted. Intercepted on the down ball. Downside of the ball coming on down.
This is the Aztec Rewind. Brought to you by Windmill Farms, your natural food market located in Del Cerro.
All right, last night, Jim, Viejas Arena, were you there?
No, were you?
No, I was in Philadelphia.
Weak.
Jaden Ledee, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 of 10 at the free throw line.
That's like
Miles Heide, the freshman forward/center, 10.7 rebounds.
That alley-oop dunk?
I did for Miles Bird.
Yeah.
A lot of guys played. Aztecs won 81-50. Again, it's an exhibition game. We'll see for real on Monday against Cal State Fullerton. Banners going up Monday night, but 81-50, led by 30 plus in the second half, won by 31. Good night, right? It's hard to know. I mean, it's an exhibition game, not the fastest of starts, but I mean, Jaden Ledee is going to be a problem. I know that. Jaden Ledee is going to be a massive problem for opponents this year. 25 minutes, 20 points. We saw it last year in the NCAA tournament. If he continues on that trend, look out.
And with the void of Nathan down low and AG, you would think that there's going to be more space for him to work.
Yes.
And we know Dutch loves shooters, right? To space the floor. It's interesting because this team, like I said, returns a lot of players, but at the same time, they're also missing some of the key players are gone for this team. So the transformation of this team is going to be fascinating to watch this year.
I agree with you. Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer, has you covered for all your game day needs, featuring organic farm fresh produce and meats, an amazing craft beer selection, plus a full deli with award-winning sandwiches. You can always check out their weekly specials at windmillfarmsmarket.com. All right, caller 5, we have 2 free tickets for you right now we have a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023 at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th to the 12th, an unforgettable event. Caller 5, they're yours, 844-570-1360, 844-570-1360. Caller 5, that 4-pack of tickets is yours. Discover our extensive collection of alpine skis, snowboards, boots, bindings, gloves, goggles, and everything else you need for a fantastic winter season with competitive prices that rival online deals. You'll find the best prices right here, but that's not all. Snow Jam San Diego is an unbeatable value for your winter adventures. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Mark your calendars for November 10th and get ready for an amazing winter experience at Snow Jam San Diego. 4 free tickets, 844-570-1360. Jim's back page next. All right, I think it was recently in a Jim's back page, we heard that San Diego is the most expensive city in America to live in, which means you may need some cash to pay off those credit cards or potentially to do a home improvement. And I'm so excited to continue to tell you about the newest, fastest, easiest way to access the equity in your home. It's with Loan Pronto and the revolutionary Express Equity line of credit. It's an amazing program that'll allow you to get cash out of your home in as fast as 5 days, and you can leave that 3% mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can pull $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 out of that record high home value. And that's money you can use to pay off those credit cards at those crazy rates of 25% or more. Or maybe you're going to use the money to do a home improvement, add solar panels, whatever it is. Here's the best part. 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. The fact is this, rates are too high to move to a new home, but you can still use your existing equity by converting it into cash. You can be credit card debt free. It's your money. You just need an easy way to get it. And you can call now and see how easy it is to get a lot of cash in about 5 days with Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit. Here's the number, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336. Write this down, 619 207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. Jay, am I turned down, Brett? Because I'm talking on YouTube. JD Gaucho, thank you, my friend, for the super chat, guys. Thank you for hanging out today. Really do appreciate it. JD Gaucho, we appreciate you, man, for the super chats. He asked who had it worse in It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, who only got rocks and his head drawn on, or Linus waiting all night in a pumpkin patch. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've seen it. I feel like I've seen it, but Jim's probably seen this more recently.
No. I don't know.
Brent, have you seen this? He says no. Great. You want to talk?
I can't.
We don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to do it.
You can come in here if you want. Brent's coming in to answer the question. This is the first. Brent, what do you got?
Linus, because he had to sit in the pumpkin patch and have everyone talk shit about him the entire episode about how he was a liar and the pumpkin didn't exist. Charlie Brown just got rocks. So go Linus.
I love that. All right, JD Gotcha. There's your answer. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes with Jim's back page. Thanks, guys. Jim's just looking at pictures of his dog barking. All right, it's Halloween. I'm going to be trick-or-treating momentarily after the show with my 4-year-old.
All right, Pikachu.
Dressed up like a construction worker. I'll be Pikachu. And we'll go get Reese's peanut butter cups or whatever they're called. Reese's cups? What are they called?
That's interesting you asked that question. Brent, let's get to it.
Oh, segue.
I thought he was just trying to get you to say it because you have a hard time saying it.
No, so we didn't plan on this.
We did not plan on this at all. But a new article has come out
from The Athletic.
Not from The Athletic. Describing
Dennis Lynn reporting.
Describing how to pronounce the candy bar. All right. Some people pronounce it like me, Reese's.
Reese's, you say.
Reese's, like Reese's peanut butter
We
cups.
say Reese's.
Reese's.
There's only a Will Arnett commercial where he says that like 80 times in a row.
There are some people that say it's pronounced like Reese Witherspoon, like Reese's, like Reese's Witherspoon. Like that's how some people say it. But according to Hershey's,
yeah, they own it.
They do own that. The peanut butter cup was cooked up in 1928 by H.B. Reese. It is pronounced Reese's.
Yeah, like Reese's.
Yeah, so it's like Reese or like Reese's.
Right, say it.
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's. Because it's Reese's.
Yeah.
You know, it's his.
Yeah.
So it's Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, so if you want to
Reese's.
Like John's.
I know. Reese's. Like if you're saying it, it's REE-sis. So Reese's.
We're not talking about this for 365 days.
But I have clarification.
Okay.
So I was wrong. Sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
I said Reese's peanut butter cups, but it's Reese's. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, there you go.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, that's good.
See, if I have it visualized in my head
like
now,
the guy's name is Reese, and just be like Reese's. Like Reese's car.
Yeah, Reese's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have to say Reese's anymore.
Right.
Because that was a problem for me.
Yes.
According to a study, these are the top 5 sweet treats in America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Study of over 2,500 people voted, and the top 5 candy bars coming in at number 5 is Kit Kat.
Solid.
Pretty good. I like Kit Kats a lot. Number 4, a Reese's Take 5.
Okay, maybe a stretch.
Hey, Take 5s are delicious.
Are they?
Have you had one before?
No.
You never had a Take 5?
Because there's so many other good Reese's products.
Yeah.
But this one is the best. It's a Reese's, but it also has little sea salt, and the salt is on the pretzel. It's inside of the Reese's.
All right. We'll try it.
Coming in at number 3.
Hershey bar?
No, the actual Reese's peanut butter cup. So 2.
Yes, that's number 3. That's so low. Who's ranking this? The college football
Leave it to
playoff
John
committee?
to pick the most boring candy bar in existence.
2 Reese's.
Yeah, but bars.
I know, bars.
Okay. Is Crunch in this list?
No, God.
Okay.
You say it like that. You don't like Nestle Crunch?
I love Nestle Crunch.
All right, who else is on this list?
Number 2, Twix.
Okay. I can see that. Is that a bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number 1, I think we can all guess it. I obviously know the answer, but what do you think it is, Brent?
Peanut butter cups.
What do you think
I thought
it
we
is?
said peanut butter cups is number 3.
Number 3 was peanut butter cup.
Yeah, what else would you go with?
Snickers.
Snickers?
Snickers is number 1.
Hershey bar doesn't make the top 5 bar list?
No.
No, it's boring.
It is boring.
It's like just chocolate. It's whatever.
Gym fact.
Okay. I like that.
And here are some of the best trick-or-treat neighborhoods in San Diego.
Okay.
So the number 1 place to go trick-or-treat in San Diego is Santa Fe Hills and San Marcos. You writing this down?
I am.
Okay.
Right now.
What are you doing?
I'm taking a photo of myself. Oh, yeah. I forgot we're on video. I'm sending it to someone.
What do you
keep talking? I need to put my wings up or whatever.
What are you doing?
I don't
your
know.
wings? You mean your
whatever
ears?
these are. Yeah.
What?
Okay.
What is happening
Carry
right
on.
now? Okay. Number 2, Bressie Ranch in Carlsbad.
Okay.
Number 3, Encinitas. This is interesting. Encinitas Highway 101 between Encinitas Boulevard and K Street.
So it's just like the highway?
It's going the freeway.
Right past the dude that's selling oranges.
Yeah. Number 4, Mission Hill Sunset Boulevard. Number 5, La Mesa Boulevard. Number 6, the Foothills at Carlsbad in San Marcos. 7, Park Village in Carlsbad.
Now, what makes these the best? Are they like
Good
giving away
question.
king-sized candy bars or what?
Just
Or there's a lot of homes.
a lot of homes.
A lot of
like
people go
the number
all
1
out.
place, Santa Fe Hills, is because the homeowners go all out in that neighborhood.
Got you.
Number 8, Kensington. Number 9, Talamud. I don't know how to say that place. Anyway,
John won't be going there.
Number 10, Rolando Park. And that rounds of the top 10 of places to go trick-or-treating in San Diego.
We didn't even mention Dabo Swinney, the whole Tyler from Spartanburg thing. You heard about this, right?
Yes.
People are dressing up as Tyler from Spartanburg.
Who?
They're Clemson fans because this guy called in and like ripped into Dabo for making $11 million.
Oh, that's funny.
And then Dabo ripped into him. It was on his coach's show. He ripped into him for like 5 minutes.
Sorry, I don't care about Dabo Swinney.
I know. That's why we didn't talk about it. But it's Jim's back page.
I literally could care less about Dabo Swinney.
You mean you couldn't care less?
I couldn't care less. I could.
If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. Find us on social media at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. We're back tomorrow for Brett and Jim. I'm John. It's San Diego Sports 760. Okay.
Pikachu, I choose you.
Okay.